The Vikings and the Dolphins, their biggest game back in 1974, Super Bowl VIII in Wright Stadium, Houston, Texas. The Dolphins won it with Larry Zonka and a ball control attack spearheaded by a brilliant offensive line. Defensively, Miami refused to give Minnesota's quarterback Fran Tarkenton an opportunity to get his spectacular game in years. 8 years later, the story basically the same. The Dolphins, with tough Andrew Franklin in his second year and a solid front ball, once again are out to control the ball. They want to keep it away from Minnesota any way they can. And they want to keep it away from an explosive Viking air attack with Tommy Kramer at the controls. And targets like Sammy White, who caught 3 touchdown passes last week against the Bears. They're the Vikings and the Dolphins.
The Minnesota Vikings against the Miami Dolphins.
And we have a splendid afternoon, 82 degrees, in the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, as the Minnesota Vikings take on the Miami Dolphins in a big interconference battle. And as we take a look at the NFC standings, the leaders, with Dallas playing in Washington later for most of you on CBS. But Minnesota is in a 4-way tie and 2-2, so a big battle going on there. 8 teams will qualify for postseason play. In the AFC, the Miami Dolphins at 3-1, one of 6 teams in the top of those standings. 8 teams will also qualify for postseason play in the American Football Conference, and that's the story in the NFL. And we welcome you to the Orange Bowl, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, along with Roger Staubach. These teams have played twice since that '74 Super Bowl, and the players come and go. They change, but not the coaches. 2 of the greatest of all time, Bud Grant of the Minnesota Vikings and Don Shula of the Miami Dolphins, and together they have been to 8 Super Bowls. But right now, Roger, Don Shula has a dilemma, and it's called Woodstock.
You're right. That's Woodley and Strock. It's an unsettled quarterback situation. David Woodley's the starter. He's a inexperienced quarterback with of course, a lot of mobility. Don Strock is a wildly veteran who has a great passing touch. Both of them have played outstanding at times, but there's been inconsistency. That's produced controversy also. Don Shula says until someone takes charge, he's going to have to stay with the relief pitcher concept.
And that means that Woodley will continue to start, and what he hopes Woodley does is have a good game and regain the confidence that he apparently has lost, because the Dolphins have been ineffective from the quarterback position in the 2 games since coming back from the strike. But Woodley, who has won a lot of games, if you look at his record for the Dolphins, it is impressive indeed. He came out of nowhere 2 years ago out of Louisiana State University and was an early sensation. There is Uwe von Schamann, an interesting story in his own right, recovering from colitis. In camp, he lost 25 pounds, but he is strong once again. Will be kicking off for the Miami Dolphins, who like to wear their white uniforms in the Orange Bowl at home. On the left is Jarvis Redwine, number 22, and Eddie Payton, number 31, on the right for the purple-clad Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings coming in 2-2, and the Dolphins 3-1. Miami losing Monday night to Tampa Bay. And the Vikings defeating Chicago in a big way last Sunday. And we're underway in the Orange Bowl, and von Schamann's kick 7 yards in the end zone for Redwine. It'll be a touchback. So let's set the offense for the Minnesota Vikings right now. Their quarterback is Tommy Kramer, who threw 5 touchdown passes last week. Darren Nelson, Tony Galbraith for Ted Brown at fullback. Ahmad Rashad and Sammy White, 2 great outside receivers. The offensive line, Riley, Huff, Swilly, Hamilton, and Irwin, and Joe Sensor, the tight end, and he can catch him. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line for the Minnesota Vikings. They had a flat second half against Green Bay offensively, but they got it all back last week. See if they sustain. Darren Nelson and Galbraith. And it's Tony Galbraith for a couple of yards up the middle. And let's set the Miami Dolphins defensively for you. The front 3, Kim Bocamper, who made the tackle, Bob Baumhauer, the nose tackle, and Bill Barnett, the right end. And 4 pretty good linebackers, Bob Brzezinski, A.J. Dewey, who's very active, Ernest Rohn, and Larry Gordon. And in the secondary, Small and McNeil are the cornerbacks, and the brothers Blackwood and Blackwood, of course, the strong and free safeties. It'll be 2nd and 6 now to 24 for Kramer. In motion comes Sammy White. Darren Nelson
with his first carry, has a first down past the 30-yard line, and he is finally brought down by Mike Kozlowski and Lyle Blackwood. So Darren Nelson, number 1 draft choice out of Stanford, and he can fly.
Well, Darren Nelson had a great training camp. He came in late, but he looked fantastic. He hasn't shown much during the season. They need him getting that rushing yard, especially with Ted Brown out. They've only had a 3.4 yards rushing. Brown is the guy that's made that yardage get up there because the rest of the guys have been under 2.0, so they need Nelson today.
1st and 10 at the 34 for the Vikings. In motion toward the line is Sammy White. And here's Galbraith cutting inside. And Galbraith is hit by Kim Bokamper after a couple of yard carry on the play. Bud Grant, in his 26th year for the Minnesota Vikings, he says the key for any club is stability. And the teams that have stability have success. And you can't argue with Grant and the Vikings.
He's concerned about his rushing game. It's a real concern today also. Miami's talked about, and we talked to their coaches, is bringing in that pass defense sometimes on first down. So if Minnesota can continue rushing the ball well, it'll be a good sign.
2nd and 7 at the 37 following the 3-yard pickup. So far, Kramer, everything on the ground. Galbraith goes in motion. And the pass up the middle intended for Darren Nelson was not a good pass by Tommy Kramer. It was low, and Lyle Blackwood was defending up the middle. So Tommy Kramer, who threw as well as ever last week against Chicago. Last year, Roger was a sitting duck. He had 2 bad knees and no mobility at all.
No, that had a lot to do with the end of the season. He did not play well at the end of the year. And he's mad right here, though, Dick. There was a blitz. The 2 linebackers came up the middle, and Nelson really should have looked immediately for the ball. I think Nelson, as the rookie, made a rookie mistake, didn't look for the quick shot, and Tommy Kramer's mad. It wasn't really a bad pass. I think it was a rookie mistake.
3rd and 7. 6 defensive backs, Kozlowski and Fulton Walker are in there for Miami. In motion, Terry LeCount, and Kramer's pass is caught by Galbraith, but he won't go anywhere, and good pursuit and defense by Ernie Roll, number 55, the right inside linebacker. And so Miami, with that swarming, unpredictable, aggressive defense, stops the Minnesota Vikings here. It'll be 4th and 6.
Minnesota has done well in certain categories, but third down has been very poor for them. They've got 22% on third down, and, of course, that was costly right there.
Ray Coleman, who has averaged 39.5 yards. Tommy Vigorito is single safety as Coleman will punt from the 23. Vigorito, one of the best punt returners in the National Football League at the 18. And he runs it out to the 37-yard line where the tackle is made by John Swain. So Miami goes on offense for the first time here at the Orange Bowl. There's no score.
Deacon's my name, and bowling's my game.
Gutter ball, gutter ball. How are you gonna score there?
Come on, 3 strikes and you're out.
We just won another round of light beer from Miller.
Yeah, light sure tastes great.
Let's fill it. Tastes great.
Wait a minute. There it is. Down there. Take your time.
8 ball in the pocket.
Bubba, this ball doesn't have any holes in it. Yeah, it does.
The score's all even.
Last frame. Who's up? Rodney. Rodney! You gotta be a mistake. Hey, you kidding? It's a piece of cake.
All we need is 1 pin, Rodney.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I didn't get my turn yet. I'm gonna break this tie.
The Miami Dolphins, who did not score a touchdown against Buffalo and managed 2 against Tampa Bay in the fourth quarter. David Woodley, who was 7 for 40 in the first half with an interception against Tampa Bay. 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. Woodley to the air on first down. Vigorito gets by 1 tackler, and Vigorito picks up maybe 6 or 7 yards on the play. Taking a look now at the Dolphins offense. David Woodley in his 3rd year from LSU. Andra Franklin and Tommy Vigorito, who's in for the injured Tony Nathan, who could play. Jimmy Cephalo and Duriel Harris are the wide receivers. Giesler, Kuchenberg, Stevenson, Newman, and Loxo up front with Ronnie Lee, primarily a blocker, one of 3 tight ends the Dolphins use. 2nd and 5 at the 33. And now Lee is in with Bruce Hardy, another tight end, at 2nd and 5. In motion is Hardy. And now he comes back. Andra Franklin is hit immediately by Fred McNeil, the right linebacker, and a pair of outstanding outside linebackers we'll tell you about with the Minnesota Vikings. They also use a 3-4 with Doug Martin, Charlie Johnson, and Mark Mullaney up front for the Vikings. Johnson, acquired from Philadelphia, has been a terrific stabilizer. The linebackers, we've already mentioned McNeil. We have Matt Blair, and in the middle, Scott Studwell and Dennis Johnson. And in the secondary, John Swain starting at quarterback. John Turner moving over to the left safety spot. Willie Teal, the right cornerback, and Tommy Hannon, the right safety. 3 wide receivers. Nat Moore is in there, the 9-year veteran. And the all-time leading receiver, the shotgun now for David Woodley. At 3rd and 2, Woodley double pumps, and the pass is dropped. It was intended for Jimmy Cefalo, incomplete, but he was hit hard when the ball got to him, Raj.
He was. Cefalo made a quick out move and tried to come underneath the linebackers, but only 3 yards that was needed for the first down. The linebackers really didn't get very deep. They were on his back as soon as he caught the ball, and he got nothing out of it.
Kurt Knopf on the play. And Tom Orris, who's been disappointing. Eddie Payton is deep for the Vikings at the 13-yard line.
I think if he would have held on to that ball, he probably would have made the first down anyway.
Orris with an end-over-end kick that bounces at the 25, and Payton inside the 15-yard line. And a slew of white jerseys knocks him back. The forward motion stopped at the 16-yard line, and it was Rich Diana from Yale who eventually made the tackle. Timeout with 10:43 to go in the first quarter.
I'm Paul Williams, composer and Grand Prix driver. This is the 1983 Celica GTS. Some good-looking car, huh? And excuse the expression, it isn't short on performance. Watch this.
That's Paul. That's the Celica. And for 83, the Celica GTS has a new independent rear suspension, electronic fuel injection, and even more horsepower.
You know, when I drive a Toyota Celica, I'm 6'2", Dan Gurney.
Sure you are.
Hello? Somebody out there? E.T. Video game?
It's coming soon, only from Atari, the video game that lets your family help E.T. get home. But only if you have an Atari video game system at home.
Here's what kind of a gorgeous day we have today in Miami. 82 degrees, not too many clouds in the sky, and the wind 14 miles an hour. 1st and 10, Joe Sensor and Bob Brewer are twin tight ends. At the 16-yard line for the Vikings, they have a long way to go. Sensor went in motion. Darren Nelson can't break a tackle. A.J. Dewey, who's a linebacker who could move up close to the line as a 4th down lineman, made the stop. 1st-round draft choice 6 years ago from LSU.
There's A.J. right there. We had a confrontation in a game we played down here one time. At the end of the first quarter, A.J. just slammed me into the turf, and his girl was worked for a friend of mine in Dallas, and her name was Frances. I said, "A.J., you do that again, this friend of mine is going to fire Frances." He looked at me and said, "Hey, I didn't hurt you."
You really got him when you...
Well, he was shocked. He ended up marrying Frances, by the way.
2nd and 6. Darren Nelson trying to go outside and has a 1st down at the 34-yard line. Tackle is made by Gerald Small, but we got a glimpse of Darren Nelson's outstanding speed here.
Here's it's a fake roll to the right and come back. It's kind of against the flow counter move, and there's a lot of room to the other side. The linebackers started flowing towards Kramer, and of course Nelson got to the outside, finally knocked out of bounds by Gerald Small over there.
Doug Betters, number 75, who's been injured in his own right, has replaced Bill Barnett, the right end, who limped off the field. It is 1st and 10 now for the Vikings on their own 32. No score, just under 10 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Galbraith gets 4 yards on the play, right up the middle against the Dolphins. A lot of action today in the National Football League. The Green Bay Packers have an early lead over the Buffalo Bills, 3-0. Two strong teams. Chicago Bears 7-0 over the New England Patriots at Soldier Field in Chicago. These are all first quarter scores. The St. Louis Cardinals 7-0 over Philadelphia, and the Eagles are in trouble. 2nd and 7 at the 35 for the Vikes. Sammy White wide to the right, and Ahmad Rashad, who's retiring after this year's split left. Play action pass, and Dewey is in on Kramer. And the tackle is made by Larry Gordon, another linebacker. Hard to pick up all of the blitzing linebackers for the Dolphins, and the Vikings didn't do it there.
Well, it's very confusing for the offensive line because you've got Gordon, or you can have Rome, Dewey, Brudzinski, all could really blitz well. There's a play action fake right there. There's AJ coming in. Gordon coming from the other side. It was a 2 linebacker blitz. And of course, the left guard really picked up the wrong man. He started going back to Dewey, and Gordon was untouched.
Kozlowski and Walker come in, and 6 defensive backs in there now as Brudzinski and Gordon go out. 3rd and 12 at the 30-yard line. 3 wide receivers. Terry LeCount, number 80, is the 3rd for the Vikings. And he's in motion. High snap from center. Kramer's pass is caught at the 39-yard line by LeCount, who lateraled in front of him to Galbraith, but that won't count. They're short of a first down at the 39-yard line. Gerald Small makes the tackle on the play. It'll be 4th down.
So when you're in a football game, you look at 3 categories that over the season are important. You look at the field position, you look at giveaways and takeaways, the fumbles you give up, the fumbles you get, and same for interceptions, and 3rd down conversions. Minnesota has been inconsistent at times because of 3rd down. They're 22%, they're 0 for 2 today.
Tommy Vigorito, 2nd in the AFC in punt returns. Greg Coleman will kick from the 25. So the 9-yard pickup was not enough, and Coleman gets off a low kick. The short man at the 34-yard line fields it, and that was Blackwood. Len Blackwood, and so the Dolphins, as you were just talking, will have good field position when we come back at the 36.
Ring in the holidays. Ring out the year. Sparkling with Andre. Love and good cheer. Take Andre home for the holidays. Andre for the holidays.
What's a celebration without Andre champagne to lend sparkle and elegance to your good times? Greet the season and your friends with the best. Andre.
For the holidays and all year long.
Business. To be in the picture, you gotta be good.
Good and fast, like Canon's NP300F. 30 letter-size copies a minute.
You gotta give and take.
Canon's 300F gives you reduction and document feeding. Even sorts it all out with optional sorter.
In today's leaner, trimmer business picture,
You need the good stuff.
and nothing but the Canon NP300F. Call toll-free for information or see your authorized Canon dealer.
Former 3rd-round draft pick from Nebraska, Bill Barnett, having his ankle tended to. He could be back. 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. Hardy and Lee are 2 tight ends in there for the Dolphins. And here's Andra Franklin. Franklin gets to the 40-yard line. Scott Studwell, number 55, one of the middle linebackers, makes the tackle. Scott Studwell, a 9th-round draft choice out of Illinois. He's had a broken middle finger, and he teamed with Huff, the offensive lineman, to win the NFL arm wrestling contest. He is a very strong inside linebacker indeed.
Arm wrestling, well, I tell you, that's a nice, handy thing to have strong arm for middle linebacker.
Nat Moore is in for Cepolo, 2nd and 6 at the 40. Franklin cutting inside. He'll be stopped short of a first down, but it'll be 3rd and a couple of yards. So Franklin carrying the ball twice in a row. Let's see how the Cardinals scored against Philadelphia. So let's go to Brent Musburger for an NFL update in New York. Brent?
Dick, you said the Eagles are in trouble, and you are so right. Watch here. Wayne Morris with a beautiful inside cut, gets outside, scores the touchdown. They've just added a field goal. It is 10-0 Cardinals. Back now to Dick.
All right, Brent, it's 3rd and 1 now at the 45 for the Dolphins. 6:40 remaining. Moore in motion. No score. First quarter. And Andra Franklin has the first down for Miami. Andra Franklin, who broke the Dolphins' rookie rushing record, previously held by Jim Kick. He's an excellent blocker, tough to bring down, and a real tank there. And he's probably the biggest bruiser they've had since Larry Zonka here. He is, and he's the heart of that running game, and Woodley needs him today. There's David Woodley as a young quarterback. He's coming off of a rough night against Tampa Bay, and it's the psychological part of the game that's even rougher than the physical part for a young quarterback. So he needs a consistent running game and hit the short passes and do some good in this opening quarter. 1st and 10 now, the 43 for the Dolphins. No score, Woodley with a drop back. He gets by one tackler and gets into Minnesota territory at the 48-yard line. Charlie Johnson and Scott Studwell made the tackle, and Doug Martin just missed him from behind.
Don Shula said David wasn't going downfield enough last week. He was throwing the ball short too many times. This time he tried to get downfield, couldn't see anything, and his ability, at least he got out of the grasp of a couple of tacklers, but Studwell and a few others got over there in time, and he didn't get much of a gain, but at least he got back to the line of scrimmage and a few yards in addition.
Don Shula, who seems to get more from less, one losing season in 20 years coaching. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6 now at the 48 of Minnesota. Woodley looking for room. He's got room to run on the right. And his pass is caught. Jimmy Cepolo at the 20. Cepolo at the 5, brought down at the 3-yard line. He was all alone, and John Turner brought him down. 1st and goal, Dolphins.
Now Woodley is still back there, a little confused, and you can see it. He's going in the dead spot of the zone. Here's the short man up there, John Swain, and the strong safety, John Turner, who's normally a quarterback, doesn't get over there. He's supposed to take the man in that area. Finally, Woodley scrambles around, sees him late, and Cepolo waved those arms, and I think Woodley at the last second saw him. Good play by Woodley, but Cepolo stayed in the heart of that zone, and Woodley found him.
On 46-yard catch and run, Jimmy Cepolo in his 5th year from Penn State. 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. And Andra Franklin gets maybe a yard on the play. Dennis Johnson, who has played well with Studwell in the middle linebacking spot of their 3-4, makes the stop.
Well, you don't know how a play like that helps a quarterback. I don't care if you're a veteran or inexperienced, and plus, Woodley was waiting today to see how the fans would respond to the other night, whether the Boo Birds are out, and to hit a play like that early. And of course, we have a Viking down. Doug Martin, big fine left end, is hurt on the ground.
Doug Martin is hurt. He has been an important part of the Viking pass rush, so we'll take a timeout. Exactly 4 minutes remain in the first quarter. The Dolphins knocking on the door.
GMC's economical S15, our new small truck, has some news that's definitely big. The new GMC S15 Club Coupe with extra carrying space inside. Then there's the S15 Long Bed with its roomier cargo box. And the new sports-minded GMC S15 Jimmy, all available with Instatrack 4-wheel drive and V6 power.
On new 82 GMC Light Duties, 10.9 annual percentage rate financing to qualified buyers. Take retail delivery now through December 31st.
This is the largest truck plane in the free world. Hi, Don. My name is Jim White. I'm the plant manager here. I chose Bell because I expect my communication system, and I mean voice and data, to be a tool that helps me do my job. The Bell people say, Jim, you don't have to know how to keep the system running. We'll do that for you. And they do. That's what I call service, and that's why we chose Bell.
The knowledge business. Tuesday, Johnny Cash, a country music legend, a Christmas tradition, returns to Memphis where it all began with Roseanne Cash, Crystal Gale, and Eddie Rabbitt. It's Johnny Cash Tuesday.
Here at the Orange Bowl, Miami has 2nd and goal at the 1. Neil Elsher along with James White, Charlie Johnson, and Mark Mullaney as Martin left the game. 4 down linemen for the Vikes. Franklin and Hill, 3 tight ends and 2 running backs for Miami. Andra Franklin with Hill blocking in front is not that close to the goal line. He's about a yard away. It'll be 3rd. Willie Teal forcing the play from right cornerback makes the stop. So the Minnesota Vikings and Bud Grant on the sidelines. 16th year with Minnesota. It'll be 3rd now and about a yard.
They've got those 4 big linemen in there. They also put the 2 linebackers down, so there's 6 men across the front down, and you just got to bust them out of there, and it's won or lost in line of scrimmage. That time the Vikings won. We'll see what the Dolphins do here.
Well, Woodley knows how to roll out. 3rd and goal at the 1. And Woodley drops back. His pass to Andre Franklin. And he doesn't make it in, I don't believe. I don't believe he made it in. And John Turner prevented the touchdown, and it'll be 4th and goal inside the 1.
Well, you got to keep the ball out front right here. Woodley had his man open out to the outside, and Franklin gets the ball, but he has to turn. Watch him turn back here. When he turns back, he doesn't have his momentum. It gives number 27, John Turner, the chance to get over there and knock him out of bounds. He doesn't make a good call by the referee.
So Don Shula has a decision here, and naturally, less than a yard, he's going to go for it. He has 3 tight ends, Lee, Hardy, and Rose, Andre Franklin, and Eddie Hill, a couple of bruisers. You'll tell by the crowd. Woodley, touchdown.
Well, that was a gutty call right there. The one official on the far side threw up his arms immediately. The only official that threw him up immediately, so he saw something. He saw Woodley cross the plane with the ball. But that was a gutty call on the 1 yard line. He just got that little bit of a leap to get into that end zone, and the one official recognized it, threw up those arms, and a touchdown.
He doesn't have to make it by much, but he didn't make it by much. And Von Schaman, with Don Strock holding, will try to give the Dolphins a 7-0 lead with 2:48 remaining here in the first quarter. High snap, the kick is blocked. The extra point is blocked, and I believe Matt Blair has blocked the 20th kick of his career. We'll check and see. First a touchdown, ground level, Roger.
This is, instead of a quarterback sneak, you got the quarterback leap right here. He just leaps over the stack. Normally you see a running back, but Woodley's a good athlete. He leaps right there, and it is awfully close. See the official down there at the top of your screen is the one that threw up the arms immediately, but the blocking, the point of attack was pretty even.
Now here is the block. It was a high snap from center and off to the right of Strock. It was not a good kick, snap at all, and we could not see who blocked it as they come over the top. It is Matt Blair. He's done this all throughout his career. 20th block kick of his career, so Miami's lead is 6-0.
Last year, I told you that in an independent test for Best Color Picture, the Sylvania Superset beat RCA, Zenith, and Sony.
You won't beat Sony again.
Well, this year, we again asked over 1,000 people which 19-inch TV had the best overall color picture. And more of them picked the Sylvania Superset over RCA and Zenith.
You didn't beat Sony again.
And over Sony, too.
Not this cup. Oh, no, this cup. Sylvania, Sony.
The Sylvania Superset.
I'm a Sunoco dealer. These are some of my competitors, and lately, my best buddies. At their stations, they have one price for cash and a higher price for credit. But with a Sunoco card, you pay the same low price for gasoline as a cash customer. So thanks to my buddies, I expect a lot of new customers. So come sign up for a Sunoco card. In the meantime, I'll accept any major gasoline card. Well, that's the least I can do for my buddies.
You're looking at the Miami scoring drive. The kick was missed at 6-0 in favor of the Dolphins with 2:48 remaining. But Miami had a lot of trouble. First and goal inside. It wasn't easy for them to score when they got close. Von Schaman's kick, fielded by Redwine, a yard in the end zone, hesitates, and now runs it out. And an indecision by the second-year player from Nebraska, and he carries it out to the 17. Let's see Woodley and how close he got going over that goal line.
Watch the ball. He's got the ball in front of him, so the ball is just about at the goal line, but that one official calls it. He calls it very quick right here. There's Studwell. Watch Studwell popping. Right now, the ball is about at the goal line, and the official at the top of your screen up there starts to throw up his arms. He calls it right there. It could have gone either way. It happened so fast. But Studwell, when he popped him, it looked like he was going in. Studwell hit him, so I would say that could go either way, and the Vikings might have a controversy on that little deal, since it was 4th down especially.
Well, from our angle, I thought the ball did go over the plane barely. 1st and 10 on the 17 now for the Vikings, trailing 6-0. Tony Galbraith and Darren Nelson, and they go out for the pass play. Ahmad Rashad gets to the 22-yard line. Don McNeil makes the stop on the play. San Diego Chargers in the AFC against the Cleveland Browns, and it's 7-0 Chargers over the Browns in the first quarter. It is now St. Louis 10-0 over Philadelphia. The Eagles 1-3 coming into this game. St. Louis 2-2. Green Bay over Buffalo 6-0 in the first quarter. Packers trying to come back from their loss to the Jets last week. At the 22, 2nd and 6. Darren Nelson. And you just can't go outside against this team. Bob Brzezinski was there to meet Darren Nelson, former Los Angeles Ram, who's tough against the run. Acquired last year from the Rams. 6-year veteran from Ohio State and a former #1 draft pick. And he's really a stud from that linebacker position.
That's true, and you're right. You can't get outside against a three-man front with 4 linebackers until you hammer it up the middle a few times. You just can't start outside. But Nelson basically is an outside runner. They have to get some inside rush before he can go outside.
3rd down and 4. At the 23. Kramer has enough time. He finds Sensor, the tight end. And Joe Sensor has a first down at the 32-yard line. He has only caught 9 passes this year after being the most prolific tight end a year ago. Gerald Small makes the tackle on Joe Sensor from Westchester State.
Watch 77, A.J. do it. He's faking back and forth. Good job that time by Wes Hamilton, number 61, and a good job up the middle by Dennis Swilley. And Kramer comes off late to Joe Sensor, number 81, who gets that extra yard, bangs in there, is tackled by Gerald Small, but he gets the first down.
1st and 10 at the 32 for the Vikings. We have 1:50 to go in the first quarter. 6-0 Miami. Ricky Young, number 34, replaces Darren Nelson in the backfield for Minnesota. Sammy White in motion. And there is Ricky Young. And Young gets to the 37-yard line where it'll be 2nd down. Right now, let's find out what's happening around the league. Let's go for an NFL update. Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
2nd down for the Philadelphia Eagles. Power to the right off the wing. Wilbert Montgomery coming off the injury. Takes the pitch from Jaworski and battles in. And now it is 10-7 Cardinals over the Eagles. Let's go back to Dick and Roger.
Thank you, Brent. 2nd and 5 at the 37-yard line. 1:12 remaining in the first quarter. Ricky Young and Tony Galbraith, the split backs. Kramer's pass is low, and Ahmad Rashad, the intended receiver, and that pass was caught, I believe, very close to the first down marker. He's hanging it up. He's going to become a broadcaster, Roger. Ahmad Rashad.
He's sure talking about it. He's been one of the really, truly great wide receivers in football. He's got 14 catches this year, and he's in the kind of shape he could play a few more years, but he wants to get in this booth where it's safe. I kind of miss it out there, though.
You do?
Well,
I thought you'd settle the Miami Woodstock problem today.
I had that same problem for a few years. Craig Morton and I were with Dallas and competed, and Tom Landry flipped the coin to see who was going to stay there at one time. So I was able to stay, and I'm glad I stayed there.
Sometimes it's a matter of a coin flip. There you see how short the Vikings are for a first down. It'll be 3rd down now. There is Don Shula, who is a happy guy this weekend because his son Mike led his high school team to the state semifinals in Florida. And he looks like he's a good, rangy fella, and Bud Grant had a chance during the strike to see his son play.
That's right. Of course, David is the oldest son who played wide receiver a little bit for Baltimore, and Michael, the left-handed 6'2", good-looking kid. The Columbus Explorers did it Friday night.
3rd and 1 at the 42. 2 tight ends for the Vikings. Galbraith has the first down. So Tony Galbraith is getting a chance to start in this game. He was acquired from the New Orleans Saints last year in a trade. He was part of that great Thunder and Lightning duo in New Orleans with Chuck Muncie. He's good lateral movement, but when he reported, he was 245 pounds. He has slimmed down considerably, and he's a threat out of the backfield.
Great receiving days for New Orleans. And then, of course, in this Viking offense, once he gets stabilized and starts playing more, he's an excellent receiver.
And the clock winds down on a beautiful afternoon in Miami, Florida, and there is the gun. That's the end of the first quarter here at the Orange Bowl. The Miami Dolphins with a touchdown and a missed conversion lead the Minnesota Vikings 6-0.
If you want it,
I like it.
if you really like it,
I really like it.
we can help you get it. We're GMAC.
I want it.
We're GMAC Financing.
Looking for value? It's here at your GM dealer. So pick out your new GM car or truck
and get GMAC financing at rates that make good sense.
Now at participating GM dealers, get low 10.9 financing on new 82 models.
We got it.
All right, maybe I wasn't the greatest player of all time, but fans, they forgive and forget. When I go in here, they'll be buying me my favorite beer, light beer from Miller.
You Bob Uecker?
Yeah, how you doing? These fans, I love them. They know us ex-big leaguers drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Well, can't keep the gang waiting. The fans are always joking.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Wow, they're having a good time in there.
You can open up your world and it can shine. You can squeeze that extra something out of life. Yes, you can. You can set it all and do it at your own style. Tell it. It's your world. It's your life. It's your time. Every minute. You can do it every day. Yes, you can. You can grow in your own way. You can do it. And we like to know.
Visa.
Sponsored by Light Beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer, and less. And by Toyota, who remind you that it's a good feeling to buckle up for safety.
Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida. The Dolphins at 3-1 coming into this game, leading Minnesota 2-2 on the year. 6-0 as we start the second quarter. Dick Stockton and Roger Staubach. Vikings have a 1st and 10 on their own 44. Play action, and Tommy Kramer has a lot of receivers downfield, and he finds Sammy White. First down at the 33-yard line. Kramer, according to Bud Grant, was throwing needles last week to the likes of White, who caught 10 passes, and a first down.
This is a post route. He drives down about 12 yards, then breaks to the middle. Watch number 59, Bob Rudinski, gets his hands on it right here. Watch him right there. He tips the ball through his hands, catches the ball in front of McNeil, and excellent concentration by Sammy White. A very steady performer. He concentrated, looked the ball in, and got the big play.
24-yard pickup. Kramer, this time Rashad, the sideline pattern. He picks up 8.5 yards. Again, Don McNeil, who made the stop on White, brings down Rashad. So Tommy Kramer, 2-minute Tommy, got his reputation for bringing games out of the fire. It looks like he's on the beam right here.
You see those sideline patterns. You say, why don't they do that all time, every play? It looks so easy, but the defense has changed. Sometimes the cornerbacks come up, the safeties are back, and you like to see the cornerbacks going back when you have that play called. Of course, if they come up, you hit the tight end or someone else.
2nd and 1 at the 24, so Kramer has a lot of possibilities here. Bob Brewer joins Joe Sensor, 2 tight ends in there. In motion, Sensor, and Galbraith has the first down. And a good second effort by Tony gets him inside the 20-yard line. Bob Rudzinski makes the tackle for the Miami Dolphins, and a good block from the right guard, Wes Hamilton, number 61. Elsewhere around the league, we have these scores for you. San Diego now leading Cleveland 14-3 in the second quarter. Philadelphia coming back, trailing the Cardinals 10-7, second period at Veterans Stadium. 1st and 10 now at the 19-yard line. Opening minutes of the second quarter. Tommy Kramer. And this time, Kramer hitting Rashad. And Don McNeil was right there. Ahmad Rashad, coming into this game, needed 3 pass receptions to pass the great Don Hudson to move into number 12 in the all-time list. And for Rashad, that is his 2nd reception of the afternoon.
I think Rashad read the blitz right there. He might have wanted to run it down in. I saw him waving his hand back to the inside, but he saw the blitz from the outside. He just stopped, and he was the outlet receiver for Kramer to get just to prevent the trap.
2nd and 9 at the 18. The Vikings trying to tie the game and go ahead here on the arm of Tommy Kramer. Dewey, and now Kramer has room. Penalty marker down at the 5-yard line, and Tommy Kramer is into the end zone. Tommy Kramer scores, and a good block by Ricky Young. But if the penalty is against Minnesota, they'll call it back. The referee is Fred Silva, and he'll tell us.
Defensive halfback. Refuse.
It's a touchdown, Vikings. Defensive holding against the Vikings or against the Dolphins, and Minnesota ties it up.
Again, you see an inside blitz this time by number 50. Gordon is coming in there, and Kramer's looking downfield. They must have been holding down there somewhere. He couldn't find a receiver. Breaks the outside. Bad knees at the end of last year, but this year he's healthy and he's ready to go. And bam, Ricky Young, of course, got a great block on that to spring him to the outside.
Rick Danmeyer, who has not missed a conversion all year, keeps his string going. And so the Vikings take a 7-6 lead.
Kramer has always had the ability to move around. He's had some knee trouble towards the end of last year and affected his play overall. But right now, that little dimension, he didn't make it though. That ball should be on about the 6-inch line, I'd say. Maybe the 8-inch line. But he did not make it, but they gave it to him.
Pylon went down. It was kicked by a Miami Dolphin, but the Vikings lead at 7-6 when we come back.
Tough Chevy trucks are taking charge. America's hottest selling new size pickup, Chevy S10, is now available in 2 new models, S10 Maxi Cab and S10 Blazer, all available with a revolutionary instant rack 4-wheel drive system. Chevy S10, from America's truck sales team. Tough Chevy trucks are taking charge. And now on new 82 models only, get 10.9% financing that could save you hundreds of dollars on financing costs.
Real tea tastes so fine. Real tea, pure and natural wine. Real tea on ice. Real tea so nice. Real tea. Real tea tastes so light. Real tea so refreshing and bright. Real tea on ice. Real tea so nice. Real tea.
You're looking at the scoring drive that took more than 5.5 minutes with Kramer. 18-yard touchdown, and actually he did not really get in. Fulton Walker on Dan Meyer's kickoff at the goal line. Walker can return him, but not this time. And the tackle by Robin Sendline.
Well, we get to see nimble Tommy right here. He does not quite get in. He's knocked out of bounds right here by number 47, Keith Nord. Number 47, Glenn Blackwood from Miami. Of course, that might be that same official. That'll even things up. It was a question whether Woodley scored. Well, Kramer didn't, so I guess they all even out in the end.
Somebody once said that, Roger.
Who said that?
I don't know if it does, but it... First and 10, 17-yard line, so the Dolphins, if you want to look at field position, have a long way to go. Cepalo, 81 wide right. Duriel Harris, 82 split to the left. The lone running back, as Hardy goes in motion, is Franklin, who carries the ball. Andra Franklin gets some tough yards out to the 22, a pickup of 5. Last year, when the Dolphins lost David Overstreet to Canada, they were very happy that Andra Franklin, who was a second-round draft pick, came on so soon. And as Bud Grant told us last night, he said, we don't stop Andra Franklin, we're in a lot of trouble.
He's a very, very strong runner, and he's also an excellent blocker, so he can do it all in that Miami backfield.
2nd and 5 at the 22 for Miami. 7-6 Minnesota. Woodley rolling out. Woodley wants to go deep, and he has Jimmy Cepalo, and the pass almost intercepted. John Swain collided with Willie Teal. And the Vikings had a good beat on a pickoff right there. It'll go as an incompleted pass.
The ball comes right here, and of course the Vikings knocked each other off. There was an interception. John Swain had a chance for the interception. The ball was short.
3rd down and 5 at the 22. David Woodley. They added the running dimension. Not been accurate on the deep pass. And in fact, Don Shula said the problem is he gives up too much on the deep play. He's been going to the backs too early. Out of the shotgun.
Well, they're blitzing the kitchen sink here. Everybody's good.
Woodley's pass is just past the outreach of Jimmy Cepalo. It is incomplete, and it'll be 4th down. Coming up next on CBS, what a great game we have. The Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. Some of you will see Atlanta and Denver, and I guess you can tick off in your mind some of the great games between the Cowboys and the Skins.
Oh, there's been a lot of them. Joe Washington is back, and they need him. Riggins is having a great year. So Washington, I think, is playing it probably as well as you could play. Dallas has started to play a little bit better, but playing in D.C., anything can happen.
Tom Morris will kick from inside the 10. Eddie Payton is back for the Vikings at the 36. And he's down at the 40-yard line. Well, the Vikings used to have trouble coming from the frigid temperatures of Minnesota to the warmer climates, but now that they play indoors, this is just another game for them.
Change velocity ratio. Change data.
When General Motors talks about fuel economy, it isn't just a lot of wind.
Stable at 9.
Although wind is involved. Aerodynamics are tested here in 50-mile-an-hour winds because less wind resistance means more miles per gallon. This has helped GM double fuel economy since 1974.
That's a fact, and not just a lot of wind.
We're living up to our commitment. Right now, today, we're the best GM ever.
You know, there's nothing like getting together for a nice, friendly game of cards. Jim brings the cards. Uh-oh. Mickey brings the doll. Thanks, doll. And I bring the beer. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great. It's got a third less calories than the regular beers. And it's less filling. And you don't want to get filled up when you're dealing with these guys who... Okay, Noma, cut the cards. Oh, no.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Next Saturday, two great matchups and exciting regional play. The USC Trojans against the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Houston Cougars against the Syracuse Orangemen. Next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Dick Stockton and Roger Staub back at the Orange Bowl. Miami has 6 defensive backs in there. 1st and 10, Minnesota at the 41. Galbraith picks up close to 5 yards. A.J. Dewey and Bob Baumauer combined to make the stop on Galbraith, who is playing today in place of Ted Brown. As Roger mentioned early, Brown has been the lone rushing threat for the Vikings all year, averaging nearly 6 yards a carry.
Yeah, the rest of the crew has been averaging 2 yards or under a carry, so they need some rushing, especially on first down. When Miami sticks that passive defense in the first down, you've got to either audible and run that ball up the middle and get some yards to make them respect the run.
2nd and 7 at the 44. Pressure on Kramer. Ernie Roll coming in, and what quickness from the free agent from Henderson in Arkansas. Ernie Roll, who's the most unheralded of that quartet of linebackers.
Yeah, they switched those linebackers around to confuse the defensive line. This time, Roan comes in. He's an inside linebacker, but he comes around from the outside, and the guard, it looks like the left guard that time, Jim Powell, gets out late, and of course, Ernie Roan gets around him, and Jim Huff really just was a little bit late getting out to the outside, but good play by Ernie Roan.
3rd and 13 at the 38-yard line. 6 backs in there. Kramer. Pass. And the official was looking to see whether there'd be a possible flag. Gerald Small hit the intended receiver, Sammy White, and the official thought about it for an instant. But there's no penalty, and it'll be 4th down.
It looked from here that Gerald Small was going to make a great play, but he did hit the receiver a little bit early.
Gerald Small from San Jose State suffered a shoulder separation last May playing basketball. There is Greg Coleman, who will be kicking to Tommy Vigorito, who is a single safety inside the 20. Vigorito returned one against the Steelers last year, 87 yards for a Miami record. Good high kick. Vigorito at the 22. Penalty marker is down, and the tackle is made by Swain and LeCount inside the 20. But let's see what the penalty is. Penalty may be against Miami, but we'll wait. A 40-yard punt by Greg Coleman. And the preliminary indication it is against Miami, an illegal block. Minnesota Vikings next week face the Baltimore Colts at the Metrodome. And the Dolphins will travel to New England to go against the Patriots. Here's Fred Silva.
On the return, number 49, illegal block above the waist. First down.
William Judson from South Carolina State commits the foul, and so they'll be on the 11-yard line when we return. Miami ball.
We are USA 1, taking charge with celebrity. No import sedan at any price can match this Chevrolet for the room it gives you with the mileage it gives you. And Chevrolet now brings it to you at new lower prices. The 5-passenger front-wheel drive Celebrity with standard engine electronic fuel injection. Chevrolet's new generation sedan. And now on new 82 models only, get 10.9% financing that can save you hundreds of dollars on financing costs.
Some special Christmas gifts from Radio Shack.
I needed help finding my husband's gifts, so I went to Radio Shack's Christmas electronics sale. I got him their Nova 5 two-way hi-fi speakers at half price, just $39.95 each. A realistic 40-channel CB, only $77. And a deluxe 4-key memory calculator, only $11.95. You know, Radio Shack's helpful salespeople made it easy to find his gifts.
A super Christmas electronics sale, only at Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
First and 10 on the 11-yard line. David Woodley 3 for 6 for 28 yards so far. Jeff Taves replaces Ed Newman at right guard. Taves is number 60. Andra Franklin, nothing. And terrific play by Scott Studwell, number 55. A terrific hit by the former 9th-round draft choice out of Illinois, and he diagnosed that perfectly, Roger.
Well, he did. Scott, number 55, is tough. He's got those big arms, and he's as tough as they come. He's so tough, I think he uses his mace as a breath spray. I heard that from someone, but he is a tough nut.
Confirm that, by the way?
Well, I haven't confirmed that. I'm not going to ask Scott about it either. My arms are too small.
Second and 9 on the 12-yard line. Rufus Bess is a nickel back now for the Vikings. Vigorito fumbles the handoff, cuts inside, and brings the ball out to the 18-yard line. Tommy Vigorito stopped by Turner and Bess coming in from the corners. Looks like they had trouble on the exchange, Roger.
Well, Vigorito's an all-purpose guy. There it is right there. You see him juggling the ball right here. It gets him off his concentration a little bit. You got the guards, Kuchenberg and Newman pulling the outside. He cuts back, gets a few yards. They've really missed Nathan, though. Nathan is a big play guy for him. Vigorito fills in nicely, but Tony Nathan is a receiver and an excellent runner out of the backfield. They need some running today to beat Minnesota.
Vigorito coming in the game is actually the top draft choice, top receiver for the Miami Dolphins. 3rd and 3 now at the 18. Franklin and Eddie Hill on the setbacks. And here's Franklin. He should have the first down. See where they spot the ball. It is a Miami first down with 7:52 to go in the first half. Bess and Teal combine to make the tackle. Andra Franklin from Nebraska with Jarvis Redwine and those very tough, hard-running Cornhusker team.
And Jarvis has had his moments with Minnesota. We might see him today, but they got some Cornhuskers out here today.
Cepolo comes out right. He caught that pass for 46 yards that led to Miami's score. Bruce Hardy, the tight end, in motion. Franklin, a workhorse, has an opening outside. Shakes off one tackler, and Andra Franklin is stopped close to the 30-yard line by Scott Studwell, and the fans here at the Orange Bowl are delighted.
This is Andra. This is a counter play right here. Watch the stutter step to the right by the lineman. Then they break back to the left, and Franklin just breaks into that crease back to the weak side this time. Good blocking. Stevenson had a nice block. Good blocking downfield also by Duriel Harris, number 82. And that means a lot when you get a block downfield. That's an extra couple yards.
It'll be 2nd and 2 at the 30 now for the Dolphins. In motion, Matt Moore. Vigorito picks up 5 yards going up the middle as a first down. Next Saturday, there's NCAA basketball on CBS. And how did you like the Kentucky Wildcats in beating Villanova? Next week, you'll see the Orangemen of Syracuse against Houston, a Final Four team last year, or USC at Iowa, 3:30 Eastern, Syracuse. one of the top powers in the Big East this year. Against Houston, should be a grand game next week on CBS.
Kind of partial toward Syracuse, aren't you?
As you do toward Navy, and that's why you're singing some good tunes today after Navy's victory over Army. 1st and 10. Screen pass, Vigorito. And Matt Blair with Julicens and Eddie Hill to replace Andre Franklin.
I don't normally call linebackers nice guys, but Matt Blair is okay.
They're at the 34, 2nd and long, 2nd and 12. Woodley, he was going for Eddie Hill, and covering on the play was the linebacker Dennis Johnson, incomplete. Let's watch Duriel Harris, who looked like he was wide open on that play, Rod.
Well, he was open. Woodley's getting a lot of blitzing today. He's young, and that inexperience plus the tough game last week, he breaks the outside. But about this time, Woodley was getting harassed. Blair and McNeil both came in, put pressure, but of course Duriel doesn't understand all that. He just wants the ball.
It is 3rd and 12, and a good observation as Harris is frustrated. Mark Dennard is the center. He snaps the ball in the shotgun situations for the Dolphins. They're at the 34. Pressure on Woodley. And he finds Nat Moore. He does not have a first down. Moore is stopped 2 yards short by Willie Teal, the right cornerback.
Boy, Nat Moore used to beat you to death. He used to be in motion out of the backfield, catching screens, making big plays. That's his 2nd catch this year. So Nat is not having his real strong year. They need him into that offense to get some big plays.
Tom Morris from Ohio State, who had one partially blocked. There's Eddie Payton for the Vikings last week against Tampa Bay, and Don Shula said that shouldn't happen with a 2-step kicker. This one will drop at the 25. And the Dolphins will down it at the 22-yard line. So we have 4:19 remaining in the first half here at the Orange Bowl. The Vikings lead the Dolphins 7-6.
We are USA 1. Taking charge by unleashing a Chevrolet the competition can't touch. Camaro. Flat outselling every other 2+2 sports coupe on the road today. And now Camaro is led by a new standard 5-speed 5-liter Z28. The hot-selling Chevy Camaro. It still leaves everything but its shadow behind. And now on new 82 models only, get 10.9% financing that can save you hundreds of dollars on financing costs.
This is a typical neighborhood hardware store owner.
But I own a Service Star hardware store, so I'm anything but typical.
Right, so he's got thousands.
I've got thousands of national brand products, and I'll show you how to use them too.
Right, and
I've got an incredible selection of my own quality Service Star label products. Does he have any saws?
Does he have saws?
I've got hacksaws, coping saws, back saws, jigsaws, drywall saws.
Service Star. Next to the man who owns the store, it's the greatest name in hardware.
And saber saws, chainsaws.
Next weekend on CBS Sports, the NFL excitement continues. Saturday, the perennial battle between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. Sunday, more great regional action next weekend on CBS Sports.
We're back, and the Vikings have 1st and 10. Kramer is 8 for 10 for 61 yards. So far, the big play was Blair's block of a Von Schaman conversion. 7-6 the score. In motion, Joe Sensor. And the flip to Darren Nelson. Nelson brought back from behind at the 25-yard line by Bill Barnett, who's back in action. Coming up at halftime, we'll have scores and highlights from around the league with Brent and Irv. There is Darren Nelson, who hasn't been used that much, and a lot of people think that Bud Grant doesn't like to play rookies, and he scoffed at that. He said, that's not true. He says, we just haven't made room enough for Darren Nelson to perform the way we had hoped.
He's disputed that, you're right. Nelson was drafted for that new turf up there, that artificial turf, so he's back on grass today, but he's run well on grass too, so he needs to have a big game for Minnesota.
At the 25, 2nd and 7, Kramer going for White, and it's intercepted by Gordon. Larry Gordon with the interception. 1st and 10 Miami at the 20 of Minnesota. Fourth interception thrown by Kramer this year.
Well, White broke open to the outside. I don't think Kramer really sees Gordon. He sees Gordon chucking Sensor to the inside, but Gordon, being an experienced linebacker, comes off the Sensor, gets into that little hole there. Kramer, instead of laying it out to White, drilled it. So I don't think he saw Gordon, or he wouldn't have drilled that ball.
15-yard return, first interception of the year for Larry Gordon, a former first-round draft pick from Arizona State. First and 10 Dolphins at the Minnesota 20 with 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Woodley is down at the 30. Loss of 10. Matt Blair and Mark Mullaney along with Charlie Johnson, the nose tackle. Last week, the Vikings had 7 sacks, 15 in the last 2 games.
Yeah, that's a big plus for the Vikings this year. They're putting pressure on the passer without the blitz. This time they do have one linebacker coming, but there's big Charlie fighting up the middle. Charlie's been a great asset to this team. They feel he's been a team leader. He worked hard. He set a great example, and he really has tremendous upper body strength, but has also brought techniques to this defensive line that White and also Martin and Mullaney all credit him for.
Loss of 9, second and 19. And they want to knock the Dolphins out of field goal range with under 3 minutes to go in the half. Woodley up the middle. Completes the pass to the 26 to Bruce Hardy. Hardy is not the best pass receiving tight end the Dolphins have. That's Joe Rose. But Hardy can do a little bit of both, block and catch.
You know, one thing about the Dolphins, their intermediate game, the 18 to 20-yard pass has not been, or their long pass has not been in vogue this year. They don't have a TD to a wide receiver, and they're hitting the short stuff, and if they're not hitting that intermediate route, the short stuff isn't very good. So their passing game is not what it's been in the past.
Woodley 5 for 8, 54 yards. And you look at the receivers, Harris and Moore lining up to the left in the shotgun. So the percentages for both quarterbacks pretty high right now. And we're going to get a new football in there. Mark Dennard, number 63, is the center. Dwight Stevenson took over that job this year, but Dennard's in there for the shotgun snaps. James White and Randy Holloway, 4 down linemen for the Vikes. And a fumble. Woodley gets rid of it and completes the pass to Joe Rose. Clock continues to run at the 17-yard line. Joe Rose from University of California, an excellent receiver, caught 23 last year, and now we have the 2-minute warning. So Woodley really recovered nicely, ad-libbed well on that one.
Well, he did. Again, though, they were going to that short route. They need to get in that 18 to 20-yard range, and maybe this fumble caused him to come up short, but they didn't really have a receiver open enough for the first down. Here, it's just a hope that he can run for it, but there's no chance. Swain is over there, and, of course, number 25 is over there. John Turner, number 27, was close by also.
All right. It is 4th and 8 when we come back. This is the 2-minute warning under the Orange Grove.
I was known as one of the meanest players in hockey, but I didn't deserve that, right?
Right.
I'm just a nice guy who comes in and has a few light beers from Miller with the boys. Eat Pussycat, who drinks light because it's less filling, and it tastes great. Really, if I was a nasty player, may a lightning bolt come down and strike this very spot.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
We are USA 1, taking charge with the new Cavaliers, with a new high-compression electronic fuel-injected 2-liter engine, available 5-speed transmission, and a new lower price. It's powered by Chevrolet's determination to put Cavalier on top, and priced to keep it there. A full line of new Cavaliers from America's sales leader. And now on new 82 models only, get 10.9% financing that can save you hundreds of dollars on financing costs.
There's our story. Minnesota leading by a point, but the Dolphins are going to try and go ahead now on a 35-yard field goal attempt by Uwe von Schaman, who is 6 for 7 this year. The one he missed was 56 yards. Strock is holding. And the kick is no good. It is off to the right. So von Schaman, who had a conversion block, misses a 35-yard field goal. And as Bud Grant told us last night, you don't want to get into a field position game with the Dolphins, but that's what he's in. And we'll come back.
What happens to the child nobody wants? As they grow older, their chances for adoption grow slimmer. He's Joe Sensor of the Minnesota Vikings. He knows how these children feel. As a child, he lost one of his parents and was in an orphanage for 6 years.
Where I can feel what some of these kids are feeling. I know what it feels like when sometimes you don't feel loved and you don't feel cared. And it's a very hurt feeling.
Today, as a United Way volunteer, he knows there are 437 United Ways in Minnesota making funds available to help these children through foster care and adoption.
It's a sad thing to see these kids. It's not their fault that they're in situations like this, and we hope that people realize that and help us help them.
Let's give every child our love and understanding. Let's give the United Way.
You know, an extra point really weighs on you. You hate to miss one. It can cost you a game, but it can affect you on a field goal also. He might have rushed this. After he had the extra point blocked, he's giving a little body English right there. It's like a guy watching his putt roll into the hole, and let me move over there a little bit. But it was wide to the right, and of course, that blocked extra point, I think, had something to do with him rushing that and missing that also.
Von Schamann took over for Gary Premian 4 years ago. He's from West Germany, been in this country 10 years. And he's been a reliable kicker for the Dolphins. But it's 1st and 10 now at the 20-yard line for the Vikings. They have all of their timeouts remaining, as do the Dolphins. 1:55 in the first half. Darren Nelson, and a good fake by Tommy Kramer. But once again, when you try to test the outside waters of the Miami Dolphins, most of the time you come up empty. And they did that time with Mike Kozlowski. They picked up a few yards on that play.
You know, Kramer was really disappointed after that interception. He got a reprieve. Not getting any points for Miami helps Kramer.
2nd and 4. Galbraith to the 31. I think he has the first down with his forward progress. Ernie Roan makes the tackle. Should be a first down, and timeout called for by Minnesota. They have 2 remaining. We talk about the field position story here. The interception and the turnover playing a role. What do we mean?
Well, field position, of course, you want to go as less as you can yardage-wise to score a touchdown, and you have a penalty on the specialty team drives you crazy, or a turnover like an interception puts you into a hole. So field position, the ability to move at least you can, puts not only pressure on the defense but helps you offensively also.
Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes, followed by All-Star Party for Carol Burnett and the 7th Annual Circus of the Stars. Great night of entertainment on CBS.
Yeah, that Circus of the Stars, they're going to have quarterbacks stick their heads into linebackers' mouths.
You know what that's like, don't you?
Those linebackers, I give them a hard time. They used to froth at the mouth when I ran past the line of scrimmage. They have no necks. They're all clones of each other, and they're the guys that can create problems.
The way you intimidated A.J. Dewey, you couldn't do that with everyone, huh?
Bud Grant is saying, Tommy, let's go with our 2-minute drill now. We got 2 timeouts left. If we hit the big play over the middle, we might need a timeout. Just call 2 plays. Normally you call 2 plays, run up there to the ball after the first play. If it's complete, get it off quickly. If you have a long one, either you take the timeout, run up the ball, throw it out of bounds. So they still have plenty of time. 1:20, 2 timeouts to go and about 70 yards, which isn't much for 2-minute Tommy Kramer.
Not at all.
He's famous for that.
It's a lot of time for him. This reminds us a little bit of those old Southeast Conference ball control field position games when LSU used to play Mississippi many years ago. Terry LeCount is in there as a 3rd wide receiver. 6 defensive backs for the Dolphins. 1st and 10 at the 31. Tommy Kramer drills it to Joe Sensen. He does not have a first down. The clock continues to run at the 40-yard line. Kozlowski and Walker, the 5th and 6th backs, making the tackle. 2 timeouts remaining, and as you said, he goes right up to the line for the next play. Kramer 10 for 13 now. Tommy looking for help. Sensor has a first down, but more important, he goes out of bounds, stopping the clock.
Normally in this situation, you have 2 timeouts. You want to get about a 20 to 25-yard play over the middle. You got the safety way back. You have the cornerbacks that are kind of running with the wide receivers, so you try to get into that middle and hope a linebacker's not back there deep enough, or if there is one back there, you just have to throw it by his ear. But the big plays are over the middle in this 2-minute period. And of course, Don Shula is a little bit concerned. He blew a chance to go ahead, and that's still that concerns the coach.
At the 43, 1st and 10. 53 seconds to go, and here comes the safety blitz. Clint Blackwood. Crowd wants intentional grounding on that one.
I think the crowd has it right there. It's not that the receiver's close by isn't the rule anymore. If you're going to get trapped or go down and you just get rid of the ball without to object, well, but Galbraith is close enough, and he might have even caught that ball. That's the reason they didn't call it.
But the rule is that they clarified it. If you get rid of the ball to avoid a sack, it counts as an intentional grounding.
They believe that Galbraith had a chance to probably catch that ball, so that was a decision.
2nd down and 10, 48 seconds to go in the half. 7-6 the Vikings. This pass incomplete. Sammy White had A.J. Dewey, of all people, downfield covering. He has really learned the pass coverage, has Dewey.
Well, they're keeping Dewey in there as he's going down in the line, faking like he's going to come in as a lineman, then he backs up into his linebacker position. I think he did kind of mess Kramer up that time, and really they had White double team.
Dewey originally was a down lineman. They moved him to linebacker, and Baumhauer, who was a linebacker, now is a nose tackle. So the Vikings 4 for 7 in 3rd down conversions, and they have been dreadful in those situations this year. Leo Lewis is the 3rd wide receiver for Tommy Kramer.
The Over the Hill Gang was born.
We were 40-10-1 at RFK Stadium. It'll be a long while before somebody beats that. One of the things I'm really proud of is that the longest losing streak we had in Washington, D.C. was 2 in a row. I think that if you can accept your paycheck and lose, there's something wrong with you. And when you win, I felt like you were reborn. It was such a great feeling, as you well know, to get in that locker room after a victory and celebrate. And we always had good together.
For this, 40 men together can't lose. Okay.
Allen's men were never more together than in the 1972 NFC Championship game against Dallas.
They were world champs, and we were ready for them. With Dallas, those games were always a battle royal.
One more.
That was our world championship game. The Super Bowl was anticlimactic after we beat Dallas.
Damn guy that prepared so much, and hell, we're going to go a long ways together. But here's George Allen. Thank you.
Now that our guy George is back with the Blitz of the USFL, let me make some predictions. Number one, the Blitz will be the oldest team in that new league, and we'll see this on national television.
Okay, Coach, I think you're right.
He probably even offered you a contract.
As a matter of fact, he did. He wanted me to play safety for him. He said I could set up a defense where you could hide in there. Nobody hurt you.
Well, he's the guy who created this rivalry. The Dallas Cowboys, the Washington Redskins, still ahead of us today here on CBS. And right now, let's send you back to the stadium and the game you're enjoying.
Halftime here at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. Dick Stockton and Roger Staubach. And the score, Miami 9, Minnesota 7 on Uwe von Schauman's 36-yard field goal. The final play of the first half. And the Dolphins and the Vikings are back and will be set for second half action when we come back in just a moment.
Pizza Hut, pizza to go. Pizza Hut, pizza to go. Pizza Hut, pizza to go.
Pizza Hut Pan Pizza is a special way to warm the busy holiday season. So call ahead and we'll have it fresh, hot, and ready to go.
Pizza Hut, pizza to go.
To minimize interference, satellite antennas are usually located in the middle of nowhere. After all, they are sending and receiving signals to and from satellites some 22,000 miles up in the sky. However, now there's a new kind of satellite antenna. It sends a more concentrated beam and cuts down interference as much as 90%. So this one can be located in the middle of anywhere. No, GTE.
If a car gets to a point where I can't do anything with it, you know who can? Charlie. He owns the local car crusher. This used to be a little economy car. So why not take care of your little car right? Including changing the oil and putting in a new Fram oil filter when you're supposed to. After all, a Fram filter doesn't cost much. Replacing this does. But the choice is yours. You can see me now, or Charlie later.
Welcome to Miller Tires. Honda on a drive with engineering quality and value. Honda, we make it simple. And by Radio Shack, the computer experts with over 6,500 locations nationwide.
Temperatures in the 80s and a slight breeze. The Minnesota Vikings getting set now to kick off. Rick Danmeyer will do the booting for the Vikings. 2-2 coming in this game. One of 4 teams tied with that record in the big battle in the NFC. Miami Dolphins 3-1. And Fulton Walker, who had a key interception on the 10-yard line, returns the kick and is upended at the 26-yard line. And a fine play by Randy Holloway, the defensive lineman. There's Jimmy Cephalo, who had 2 receptions in the first half, and they led to some big scores for the Dolphins.
They had 2 receptions for 71 yards, most of their passing yardage, and one set up a touchdown, and the big one before the half that set up the field goal.
Jimmy Cephalo, who wrote an article in a newspaper discussing his recruitment. He went to Penn State and actually is one of the top 5 leading high school rushers all time in the state of Pennsylvania. 1st and 10 at the 27. David Woodley, good numbers in the first half. He was helped by the interceptions, however, by Fulton Walker. At the 27. Andrea Franklin trying to go outside. And he carries Studwell on his back for a couple of yards and brings it out to the 34.
You know, it really wasn't a good offensive performance in the first half by either team. A few big plays on both sides, but the line of scrimmage was pretty well controlled defensively by both teams. Minnesota put a good rush on Woodley, and of course Kramer was harassed the whole time with the change-ups and the blitzes and different people coming, and that affected him.
Correction, that was just a 2-yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 8 at the 29. Andrea Franklin with 34 yards in 10 carries in the first half. Woodley, that was a quarterback draw, but the Vikings were there, particularly Dennis Johnson, who has moved from the outside to the inside linebacking spot, former 4th-round draft choice out of Southern Cal. There is Charlie Johnson, the nose tackle, Roger, you were talking about, who was acquired in a trade with the Eagles, and he has really taken the Vikings under his wing. They respect him. He's taught them a lot about technique. He comes out of the game when they bring in White and Holloway in a 4th-down lineman situation, and that's what they have, 3rd and 6. Ball at the 31. Woodley up the middle. Burial Harris has a 1st down at the 39-yard line. Acrobatic Duriel Harris, tackled by John Swain, but a 1st down for Miami.
Well, they have the blitz this time, and it's an automatic. See him look in real quick. He sees the safety coming. He could read the safety, and also if he sees a couple linebackers coming, and Woodley and Harris both have to read that. Harris looked inside real quick. Woodley got rid of the ball quick, and it was good enough for the 1st down.
His first reception of the game coming in. Harris had caught 10 passes. 1st and 10 at the 39. 3rd quarter, Dick Stockton and Roger Staubach, 9-7. The Dolphins lead the Vikings. And Bruce Hardy is in motion. And Andrea Franklin. That was Hill, Eddie Hill, who is also a hard running back. Picks up 7 yards on the carry. Studwell and Swain make the stop on Eddie Hill, who was acquired from the Rams last year. He didn't quite pan out for Los Angeles. He's in his 4th year, and he gives the Dolphins another good big back with Franklin.
Well, they have a look-see now at halfback, really, though, Dick. They want Tony Nathan back. He's been their kind of their big play, the guy that running and passing, and Andre is strictly a steady performer at fullback, so they miss Nathan.
2nd and 2 at the 47. Not Moore in motion. Tommy Vigorito is stopped short of a 1st down. Good play by Scott Studwell. Later today, the Dallas Cowboys with Danny White and Tony Dorsett and their bevy of great receivers against the Washington Redskins with Joe Theismann and the great rookie Charlie Brown and John Riggin.
Well, Joe Gibbs has put together a football team. They're 0-5 at the start of last season, and they've been sensational since. This year, of course, they're 4-0, and Dallas, coming off a strong game against Cleveland, must beat Washington. They won home field advantage in the playoffs, a key game.
Dallas is 3-1. Washington, the only undefeated team in the National Football League at 4-0. And it should be a humdinger at RFK Stadium. Some of you will see Atlanta at Denver coming up after this game. It is 3rd and 1 now for the Dolphins on their own 48. Eddie Hill and Andra Franklin, two big backs. And it's Franklin, first down. Picks up some extra yards, and they did not blow the whistle, I don't believe. He got the extra yardage to the 45. Willie Teal makes the stop.
You got a Viking that's hurt also in the middle of that pile right here. It's a trap inside. He fakes the pitch to the outside, and everybody traps inside. Newman, Stevenson, and Kuchenberg open up the hole. Franklin doesn't go down, gets a few extra yardage, and we got a Viking on the field, and we'll tell you who it is in a second.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, it's John Turner. We have a timeout, and we'll be back.
After a long day, it's nice to get into your Accord hatchback. While the outside world admires its elegant styling, you can enjoy the ride. Honda now offers a 4-speed automatic with variable assist power steering that makes driving simpler than ever. The Honda Accord hatchback is so nice to get into, sometimes you don't want to get out.
Honda, we make it simple.
A special Christmas gift from Radio Shack. The TRS-80 color computer at $100 off.
Instant loading program packs turn our color TV into a game arcade.
The color computer is also an education center.
There are over 30 games available.
And it's perfect for home management.
She's right. With a programmable, expandable computer, you can do more than just play games, like our son's even learning how to program.
Save $100 on the TRS-80 color computer, only at Radio Shack, the computer experts.
There's John Turner, number 27, who's out of the ball game. By the way, he went to Miami along with John Swain, so it's a homecoming for them. And replacing him, Kurt Knob, who was a starter before Bud Grant switched Turner from left corner to left safety. 1st and 10 for Woodley and the Dolphins on the 45-yard line of Minnesota. Bruce Hardy, the tight end, in motion, and the pitch goes to Eddie Hill on the option pass. Jimmy Cepolo can't come back to it. It was a short pass. Tommy Hannon did a good job of staying with Cepolo on that play.
Well, Hannon recognized it late. The ball was short. If the ball was a little bit longer, Hannon might have gotten over there a little bit too late. But here's Swain's got the short area. Hannon's got to come back and get the deep area, but he goes for the fake and gets over there late. But Eddie Hill trying to throw the ball on the run. It's tough enough for a quarterback. He just doesn't get enough on the football.
What's interesting, Roger, is that the Vikings have rushed for more yards than the Dolphins, while Miami has gained more yards passing today, which is just the opposite of what was anticipated.
Right, the Vikings rushing game coming to this game was very sparse.
2nd and 10 to the 45. Andra Franklin gets outside and gets to the 36-yard line. A good pickup by Franklin, who misses a first down by just 1.5 yards. So we saw some acceleration and power as McNeil, the linebacker, Hannon, the safety, make the play.
Yeah, this is an inside handoff here. The left guard trapped with the right guard. They trap the man inside on the 3-man rush, and the linebackers get sucked inside on the inside handoff, and you just got to run it to the outside, and hopefully you get a block. And Nat Moore got a decent block on that play that gave an extra few yards.
And the pulling guards, Kuchenberg and Newman on that play. 3rd and 1, the offensive line. That was the standard bearer for the Dolphins in their heyday when they won those 2 Super Bowls. Matured and developed again. At the 36, 1st and 10. Lee and Hardy, 2 tight ends. Play action. Woodley being rushed. Woodley inside the 30. And a first down. He only needed 1 yard. He got more than that.
Normally on this play, when you make this fake, Vigorito, number 32, is out in the flat. He should be the number 1 receiver. He's wide open. Woodley comes off him late and is going for the big man down the middle. Nat Moore, he's double covered. He can't throw the ball. Good scramble here, though. He gets out of trouble, gets the first down. What a runner for a quarterback. Quarterback shouldn't run like that.
You did at times.
The crowd love it, though.
Brings them to life. Matt Blair, Dennis Johnson to tackle. 1st and 10 Miami, 9:33 remaining, third quarter, 9-7 Dolphins. The ball at the 28 of the Vikings. Vigorito. Nothing on the play, and James Duck White, number 72, makes the stop on Tommy Vigorito. Uwe von Schaman getting set in case he's called on again, and I'm sure he's feeling much better after missing 2 kicks and getting that big field goal to give them the lead just before the half.
Warming up over there. It's kind of a negative situation, but a kicker's got to be ready. You want the touchdown.
Bud Grant, who is cool. Don Shula said the biggest difference is that Bud Grant likes to have other people take care and delegate authority, and Shula's in on everything. 2nd and 8 at the 26 now. Woodley. Matt Moore inside the 20. No first down. Fred McNeil made the tackle. Former 3rd-round draft choice, Moore.
Woodley's taking the short passes. The protection's better. He's getting time back there. He's into that plus territory, the 20-yard line. You see a lot more blitzing down here. You have to change your offense. You have to be ready for the blitz, especially the safeties, and have the alternate receivers ready to catch the ball. Get rid of the ball. Don't get trapped down here, get out of field goal range, or don't make mistakes.
3rd and 1, 4 down linemen as Holloway and White are in there now. The Dolphins are 5 for 10 on 3rd down conversion. Lee and Hardy, 2 tight ends. And it's Eddie Hill with a first down. John Giesler, the left tackle, number 79, and a former 1st-round draft pick, set the key block for Eddie Hill.
You know, most teams, Dick, have different offenses down here once you get inside the 20-yard line because the defense has changed, and you practice on these in practice from the 20 to the 10, maybe from the 10 to the 5, and then into a goal line situation. So if you're prepared down here, you're a lot more successful. And Miami, with Don Shula, says they're prepared for that plus territory.
There's Giesler, 4-year vet next to Kuchenberg, a 13-year pro. 1st and 10 at the 16. Miami's practically doubled Minnesota's first down output. That's Andre Franklin, who is cut down for a loss on good pursuit by Willie Teal. Ed Newman was out there blocking in front, and Franklin, who has been the workhorse in this game, is stopped by Willie Teal, who last week had 3 interceptions against the Bears and came into this game tied for the NFL lead with 4 with Donnie Shell of Pittsburgh.
Miami's using a lot of that inside handoff and letting the back go down the line, break inside, and you need to block the cornerbacks. When they come up the force like that, if you don't block them, and they're good tacklers as Teal is, you just won't gain any yardage.
Rufus Bess is the nickel back for the Vikings. 2nd and 10. Up the middle, Hardy. And the Vikings just won't let him inside the 10. He stopped at the 11-yard line. That's his forward progress. And Rufus Bess, number 21. Earlier, when the Dolphins scored their lone touchdown, they really have to work hard, and looks like Bess is shaken up on the play. Dolphins really had to work hard to get the score, which was suspect to say the least, with Woodley going over. Rufus Bess, who's just 5'9", former Buffalo Bill, is hurt, coming off, seems to be all right. We'll be back with 6:23 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Out here in farm country, we still believe in early to bed and early to rise. We just try not to overdo it.
Welcome to Miller Time. It's all yours, and it's all mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. You've got the time, we've got the beer for what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller Time.
The best beer for the best time of the day. Miller High Life.
Bring your thirsty self right here. You've got the time, we've got the beer for what you have in mind. welcome. You know you're welcome, welcome. Everybody's welcome, welcome. To Miller Time, yours and mine.
Well, what do you think that is?
There's an eyeball behind that, yep.
And the reflection of sun-splashed and colorful Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. Right now, Bud Grant can think of little of that. He wants to hold off the Miami Dolphins, who lead at 9-7. 6:23 to go in the third quarter.
As you mentioned, two contrasting styles on the sidelines, but two winners as head coaches.
Yes.
One's very aggressive and emotional, and another one is staid and confident over the line.
Although Bud told us last night he thinks Shula's mellowed a little bit. When he first came over from Canada, he couldn't believe Don Shula's antics on the sidelines. 3rd and 5 at the 11-yard line. Woodley, 12 of 16 for 125 yards. He'll put it up again. Dropped by Duriel Harris, who then tried to drop pick. And that was a tough miscue.
Well, that was a big drop right there. He probably had the first down. He was very close to it. Might have needed to run a step to get it. He had a chance to do that. He took his eye off the ball. When you're in that middle watching traffic, you know linebackers are hovering around there. You might have a tendency to do that. He needed to get the first down. He didn't do it.
So Uwe von Schaman comes in the ball game to try to give the Dolphins a 5-point lead. He is 1 for 2. He made a 36-yard field goal and missed one from 35 yards. This one is a 28-yard attempt. Holding his stroke. And the kick is perfect. So Uwe von Schaman, who missed a conversion but has accounted for 6 other points, gives the Dolphins a 12-7 lead with 5:48 to go in the third quarter. We'll be back.
This is the Honda Civic FE running at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Civic FE is the #1 car on gas mileage. With its 10.8-gallon gas tank, it could run the entire 500 miles at Indy without making a single pit stop, and still leave you plenty of gas to get back home again in Indiana.
Nikon introduces a new 35mm camera so revolutionary 55,000 were sold before they were even built. It uses optics so superior they flew aboard Columbia. It operates automatically, semi-automatically, or manually. It measures light a completely new way for better flash pictures. It's so incredible it can even wake you up in the morning. Introducing the programmed Nikon FG, the ultimate 35mm camera.
Next Saturday, 2 great matchups in exciting regional play. The USC Trojans against the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Houston Cougars against the Syracuse Orangemen. Next Saturday on CBS Sports.
62 yards, 16 plays, and von Schaman's 28-yard field goal gives the Dolphins a 12-7 lead. And there is Uwe, who still plays soccer in the offseason, still his favorite sport. And you look at the scoring drive and good ball control by the Miami Dolphins right there. Eddie Payton and Jarvis Redwine are deep. And this kick sails into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. Around the National Football League, let's bring you up to date. The St. Louis Cardinals leading the Philadelphia Eagles 23-7 in the third quarter of their game. Cardinals 2-2, Eagles 1-3. Green Bay over Buffalo 20-7 in the third quarter at Lambeau Field, and Tampa Bay and New Orleans tied 10-10 in the third quarter. And how about those New Orleans Saints? Next week you'll see them against the Atlanta Falcons at Atlanta. Many of you will see that game on CBS. The New Orleans Saints, not just George Rogers, but Kenny Stabler and an improved offensive line. And Bump Phillips has that defense playing. Some of you will see Washington at St. Louis. The Cardinals are surprised too. Next Sunday, and it all starts with the NFL today. 1st and 10 on the 20, play action pass. Kramer in trouble and down at the 5. Brodzinski and Bokamper, and now the Vikings have their work cut out for them.
Well, at the left side of that Dolphin defense, Bokamper the left end, and Brzezinski. And with Brzezinski coming in on a blitz, Bokamper was set free. Both have good speed, though, and of course, number 59, Brzezinski gets him to the outside. Bokamper comes to the inside. Kramer's mad at himself. The Dolphins did what they had to do for the first part of the quarter, keeping the ball away from Kramer. He's got it now, and he's got to do something with it.
That's a 15-yard loss. Second down now. And 25, 6 defensive backs. Let's see how the Dolphins play it. Charles Bowser with good speed. Number 56 is in at linebacker for Miami. Penalty marker is down. And the clock ran out. Too much time, and that'll be half the distance. They started at the 6-yard line, and they'll spot it at the 3. And Kramer looks to be the upset player now.
Every once in a while, you see a quarterback rush out of the huddle. And the reason is, especially Minnesota, they got people in motion. They need that extra time. And, of course, that time he just took too much. It's the first time today. He was close a few other times.
We told you about the ball control. That's what the Dolphins wanted to do. They won the Super Bowl that way. Jerry LeCount is the third wide receiver. Second down at 27 on the 3. Galbraith. A.J. Dewey right there. It'll be third down.
Yeah, we've hammered on field position, but that trap really put Minnesota in tough field position. That's costly. They needed to get something going. They haven't had the ball for a long time. They had the halftime break and then 9 minutes where the Dolphins controlled it. So this is a important series for them. They're in trouble, though. Third 27. They probably need to get 10 or 12 yards so they get it into a decent punting position, get some field position back.
Keep in mind the Dolphins' defense is number 1 in the NFL against the pass, and they played it well today. And the flip, Galbraith. And he gets it out to the 9. Mike Kozlowski makes the play, and so the Dolphins in this field position game are thinking just that right now as Greg Coleman comes in and a hand for the defense. It is a short kick. It bounces and goes out of bounds. It was a short kick, but it took a Minnesota bounce, and it is out of bounds at the 48-yard line of Miami. The Dolphins, with great field position, take over first and 10.
Welcome to Miller Time. It's all yours, and it's all mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. You got the time, we've got the beer. For what you have in mind. Oh, welcome to Miller Time. Yours and mine.
The best beer for the best time of the day. Miller High Life.
You can open up your world and let it shine. You can do it. You can squeeze that extra something out of life. Yes, you can. You can set it all and do it. Add your own style to it. It's your world. It's your life. It's your time. Every minute. You can do it. Every day. Yes, you can. You can grow in your own way. You can do it. Every life and world.
Visa.
Well, there you go. A couple of people got in without a ticket. Miami leading Minnesota 12-7. Dick Stockton and Ronnie Hodges Staubach. You don't think that was that funny, Ron?
That had its
moments,
possibilities.
First and 10 Dolphins at the 48-yard line. The Vikings have not forced a turnover. Dolphins have done most of that, and Andra Franklin barreling off the left side. Close to a first down. Ed Newman, the 10-year veteran from Duke, with a good block to free Franklin before Teal makes the tackle.
Excellent blocking here again. Number 64, Ed Newman's leading the way, and bam, he hits McNeil in the hole. Also, good blocking downfield by Duriel Harris again. He's pushing Teal away enough for the first down. Teal was knocked back about 4 or 5 yards. There's Don Shula there, and right next to him with the jacket on is the Raleigh Fingers of the Miami Dolphins, Don Strock. Woodley's having a good game today with the help of the running game by Franklin, especially from the second quarter on.
Second and 4 at the 35 for Woodley. Eddie Hill is in at running back, and Bruce Hardy is in motion. Here is Eddie Hill. And a good defensive play by Tommy Hannon, number 45, who prevented a first down. Hannon from Michigan State in his 6th year has had a sore elbow, and he had 4 interceptions last year, was tied for the team lead. Miami now faced with a 3rd down and 2. They are 6 for 12 at 3rd down conversions. Have done much better than Minnesota this year in that department.
They have. Minnesota's department, though, Miami's been a -3 in turnovers. That means the takeaways with interceptions and fumbles not getting as many as the other team, where Minnesota's been a plus in that area today, but they've been hurt with Kramer's 2 interceptions.
3rd and 2 at the 33. Dick Stockton and Roger Staubach at the Orange Bowl. 1:20 to go in the 3rd quarter, and Andra Franklin very close. The Dolphins feel they have the first down. We may get a measurement. We'll see where they spot it. Franklin, who has been gaining the key yards all day for the Dolphins. Forget Tony Nathan, the big play man for the Dolphins, not in there today. They're going to measure. Don't forget, it'll be the Dallas Cowboys against the Washington Redskins, both coming up next. Most of you will see that game. And another great resumption of a terrific rivalry.
Well, there's been some great games in that stadium up there. I remember Walt Garrison back in the old days was clobbered by Kenny Houston at the goal line. Washington won that one, and there was many a times up there where the game was down to the last second. And the caliber of play this year by those teams, it could be very well happen again today.
Coming up next, and a first down, as you saw. Miami continues it, and the clock continues to run. There is Tony Nathan, who has a hip pointer. He suffered the injury against Tampa Bay Monday night.
Yeah, the opening play, too. I think the opening series.
That's right.
Was missed the rest of the game. Today, Vigorito's doing a pretty good job, Hill, but it's been mainly Franklin on the ground.
Nat Moore is split left, and Cephalo is wide right. 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. And Andra Franklin again with a good block by Ed Newman, and Franklin is off with another first down inside the 20-yard line. Andra Franklin is the running back hero, as we showed you at the top of the ball game, and a good block by Nat Moore.
There's 64, the right guard. Look at him pull out to the left right here. He leads the play, and he knocks away the 4th man, McNeil. And again, good blocking downfield by Duriel Harris. It springs him to the outside, and finally Teal gets over there. Nat Moore this time. Number 89 was the guy that got the block. Before it was Duriel Harris. Moore, both fine wide receivers, are doing a good job blocking.
He is on his way to 100 yards. Working hard today is Franklin, and there's Ed Newman, who pulled nicely on the play. 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line of Minnesota. Dolphins trying to open up a lead, and Franklin again inside the 15-yard line. Tommy Hannon this time, but Andra Franklin is running outside and inside against the Minnesota Vikings defense.
Well, Ronnie Lee is a steady blocker at the tight end position, not a great pass receiver. At least they don't go to him a great deal. But the blocking there by Loxo and Lee sprung Franklin loose. Franklin's taking advantage of that fine blocking, and you mentioned earlier, Dick, that offensive line, Don Shula is very happy with it in comparison to his old offensive line of a few years back in Super Bowl caliber.
So the crowd enjoys the Miami defense and Andra Franklin's work this afternoon. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. 12-7, now a pause for a word from your local station.
Tuesday, Andy Williams is back for an early New England Christmas. It's an exciting holiday special of song and celebration with Andy's special guests. Tuesday.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
This is CBS. Is sponsored by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is USA 1, and USA 1 is taking charge. And by Memorex cassette tape. Is it live or is it Memorex?
Dick Stockton and Roger Staubach as we welcome you back to the fourth quarter of this game in the Orange Bowl. The Miami Dolphins lead the Minnesota Vikings 12-7, and the Dolphins are charging.
Well, if they gave you points for first downs, they'd be in great shape. They've controlled the football, but only got 3 points.
2nd and 3 at the 12.
In that third quarter.
Andre Franklin, not much this time, gets to the 10-yard line. Other games around the National Football League. More than the halfway point of this 9-game regular season campaign. San Diego over Cleveland 27-6 in the third quarter at Cleveland Stadium. St. Louis still has a 10-point lead over the Philadelphia Eagles in the third quarter of their game. Green Bay still the same score, 20-7 over Buffalo in the battle of 3-1 teams. And Houston over the New York Giants 7-3 in the fourth quarter at Giant Stadium in what is a surprise. Rob Carpenter returning to action. The Bears over New England 23-13 in the third quarter. First down. Franklin got the first down. And it's 1st and goal at the 9-yard line.
That's amazing. That third quarter, Minnesota had the ball for 4 plays in offense. 1 was a punt. Miami has controlled the football, got 3 points out of that third quarter, so it's still a very tight game, a big drive here.
It's going to be a big score on Shula. We saw his team struggle inside in the first quarter. Tough yardage inside. Andre Franklin all the way. Touchdown, Miami. 40 yards on 6 carries in this drive. So Bud Grant has a problem on his hands, and the problem is the one he feared the most, Andre Franklin. They have not been able to stop him, and the Miami Dolphins are now leading 18-7. Von Schumann with Strock to hold to try to add the 19th point. And Von Schumann, kick is good. Boy, did he barrel in for this score, Roger.
Well, John Sandusky, the offensive line coach, couldn't have had a better drive. It was mostly on, almost all, I guess all on the ground, really. Franklin got most of it here. He gets good blocks at the point of attack in. Kuchenberg, Giesler, and Stevenson. Also from the outside, there was a good block, and Franklin took advantage of all of them. Got in the end zone.
So it is 19-7 with plenty of time to go, but Minnesota's got to get the offense moving.
Avis Express, the first express service to require no pass, was just the beginning. I'm David Mahoney, chairman of Avis. Now there's another first, Avis Shuttle, for busy travelers who commute between major cities. And this service is available at 16 airports, where you can now pick up your contract before your flight. When you land, you go straight to your car. Avis Shuttle Express, another way trying harder, makes Avis second to none.
From the leading edge of technology comes a new generation of video electronics from Zenith. At the touch of a button, the giant screen rises and you enjoy Space Screen 45 TV. Push a space phone button and turn your TV into a telephone. Produce a movie with your VCR and play it back on Zenith's new component TV system with stereo capability. Video high-tech, part of the new generation from Zenith, where the quality goes in before the name goes on.
Is this plays? 19-7 the score. Miami is in front now of Minnesota. Important game for the Vikings in 2-2. There's a logjam there with 4 clubs in the NFC, and this kick by Von Schumann sails into the end zone. Washington and Dallas coming up, and you have had your more than your share of aches and pains in that great series.
I learned to wear rib pads after one of those games. Broke a couple of ribs on a quarterback draw on the goal line. I don't like those quarterback draws on the goal line, but Washington was always a fiercely fought football game, and again, the Redskins are back, and it's like the games of old, with both contending right now to get into the playoffs.
Tom Landry looking for his 200th career victory as an NFL coach in that one. He'd love to get it against the Skins in Washington, that's for sure. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. In motion, Sammy White. And you can expect Kramer to go up on top in this series if he can. Here's Tony Galbraith out of the backfield, and he takes it out to the 26. Dewey makes the stop. Jarvis Redwine, who's in his second year, has been a kick returner. But at the University of Nebraska, he was the star All-American ball carrier. And he got most of the headlines. And the man who didn't get many of the headlines was Andra Franklin, who was the blocking back for Nebraska. But so far, it's been Franklin's day and perhaps Franklin's pro career more than Redwine. Kramer is dumped at the 20. Larry Gordon came in from the linebacking spot to make the tackle, and the Miami defense looks superb today.
And we've seen every type of blitz. Gordon's had a big day with the key interception, but he's also blitzed well. Roan's been in there. A.J. Dewey's been in there. Ruditsky. They keep changing up the blitz. That's been the problem today for the Minnesota offense. They've been kept off guard. Kramer's been harassed most of the day. He just hasn't had much time.
Well, you know, Bud Grant was hoping that Miami wouldn't have too many 2nd and 5s. But for the Miami defense, they've been able to bring in Fulton Walker and Kozlowski. There's 6 backs on 2nd down. A lot today. 3rd down and 9 at the 21. Kramer, slingshot pass, incomplete. It'll be 4th down, and the Miami defense does it again on the pass intended for Rashad.
Well, that was Volkamper that caused that sidearm throw right there. He was in, rushing hard, and again, Kramer had no chance. The fans wanted.
So Coleman will punt from inside the 10. And now Miami really pressing Minnesota defensively, and they look like they have a world of confidence right now. Good field position, controlling the ball. Coleman angling it away from Vigorito, who calls for a fair catch at the 38-yard line. So Miami controlling the ball well. Good field position when we come back, and they have a 19-7 lead over the Vikings.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Congratulations, you coached a pretty mean game.
Well, I had a pretty good teacher.
Did it teach you the part about the winning coach buying the loan, Brown?
You got it.
Give me 10 minutes. I gotta go yell at my players.
When you want the taste of a truly great beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrau.
So tell me, what'd you say to your teacher?
Told him we were out cool.
From the furnaces at Ford, it's Mustang GT, the boss for 1983. Hot new styling. New 4-barrel carburetor, a 5-liter high-output engine. The boss, the 175 horsepower Mustang GT. One hot piece of American steel.
Next weekend on CBS Sports, the NFL excitement continues. Saturday, the perennial battle between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. Sunday, more great regional action next weekend on CBS Sports.
12 minutes and 49 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Dick Stockton and Roger Staubach under the sunshine of the Orange Bowl with the Dolphins trying to win their 4th game in 5 starts. And David Woodley has done a good job orchestrating this Miami offense today, a ball control offense. Passing on 1st down. Up top, it was tipped and an incomplete pass. It was intended for Ronnie Lee, who was used primarily as a blocking tight end.
Matt Blair tipped the ball, prevented the completion. Minnesota has had the ball 2 series in the second half. It's been all Miami. They haven't got a 1st down, and of course, Miami stayed on the ground. That was a unusual call, but a good call, I guess, at 1st down. Keep them guessing, but they've been really running the ball. The last series, they scored without throwing a pass.
Andra Franklin has gained over 100 yards on 21 rushes. So the key to the ball game, again, we must tell you at the top, the offensive line, ball control, and Franklin's running. And here is Andra again. Cuts inside nicely and moves it up now to the 44-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 5. The Houston Oilers continue to lead the New York Giants 14-3. The Giants just can't get on track. They defeated Detroit Thanksgiving Day, and Tampa Bay in the fourth quarter on a field goal has moved ahead of the New Orleans Saints 13-10. Green Bay solidly in front of Buffalo 27-7, so the Packers bouncing back from the loss to the Jets last week. 3rd and 3 at the 45. Pass complete, first down. Eddie Hill fumbled, and here comes John Turner down the sideline. John Turner is knocked out of bounds, and that's what the Vikings wanted, a big turnover to get them back in the game, and they may be headed that way. John Turner on the pass off the hands of Eddie Hill.
Well, you're exactly right. That's what they need, a shot of adrenaline right there, and that'll give it to them. That ball was there for the first down, popped right out into Turner's hand when he was hit. Here, Woodley's just trying to get the first down. He drills it in there. Good job. Right there's the hit. And number 59, Matt Blair, the big play guy, knocks it into John Turner's hand. He's down the sidelines. Tommy Kramer has got some new light.
So the Minnesota Vikings will try to take advantage of this golden opportunity. About to say that Miami has played the way Shula likes it. Mistake-free football. No turnovers and one penalty, but now they've got the turnover, and let's see if the Vikes can take advantage. And now the Vikings will call a timeout. So the clock shows plenty of time, 11:47. And Minnesota uses a timeout, so each team has 2 remaining. 19-7 is the score, and it's imperative for the Vikings standpoint that they get something on this drive.
Hey, Buzz, look. Here's 2 good friends. Tonight is kind of special. The view.
Well, look who's back.
Must say something more.
Okay, Paul Bunyan. Let's go watch some of this bird.
You always work your guests this hard.
You got enough strength left to lift a Lowenbrow? Lowenbrow?
I'll use 2 hands.
When you want the taste of a truly great beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
You know, the work's pretty hard, but the pay is not bad.
Now, there's a steel-belted radial that meets today's driving challenges head-on. The new 72,000-mile Olympian. Made by Uniroy, Olympian's all-season tread takes any weather in stride. Built to outdistance Michelin X and Goodyear Ariba. Now, buy 4 Olympians and get a $200 bond from Kmart. Buy 2, get a $100 bar. The Olympian. It goes the distance. The Olympian. Quality by Uniroyal. The price by Kmart.
That play by John Turner was a fumble recovery, actually, after the reception by Eddie Hill and returned 35 yards. 1st and 10, Vikings, following the timeout by Kramer. The ball at the 22 of the Dolphins.
Normally you go to the air with a big play after a turnover like that.
Play action. Kramer in trouble. Doug Betters is leading the cheers, but the man who made the play, or the men we should say, for the Miami Dolphins, Bob Grudzinski, the linebacker number 59, and a big loss to the 29.
Kramer had 3 men out this time, Sensor, White, and Rashad. The bootleg does not really fool the linebackers. He's trying to come back to White. The linebackers are back in pretty good shape. Ernie Rowan's back there. This is what he doesn't want to have happen, a trap, a lost yardage situation after a big turnover. But again, the Dolphins defense done it again on that particular play.
Grudzinski and Doug Betters, who is 6'7", came in on the play. It is 2nd now and 17 at the 29-yard line. Kramer in the shotgun. Penalty flag is down. He dumps it off to Galbraith. Galbraith still going inside the 20. Galbraith still going to the 15. Galbraith down to the 11-yard line. And what a terrific exhibition of 2nd and 3rd efforts. But let's see what the penalty marker is all about. Glenn Blackwood made the tackle. And it's against Miami, I believe. Illegal procedure called against the Dolphins. And a big play for the Vikings.
Good pressure again on Kramer this time, but he maneuvers out of it. He's looking downfield. Excellent coverage. He's trying to pump deep to White. He's covered. Finally sees Galbraith, gets rid of the ball, and Galbraith does a lot on his own right here. Walker misses the tackle, cuts back inside. Blackwood misses the tackle. Franklin stays on his feet, and finally is brought down by the other Blackwood, this time Glenn Blackwood, the brother of Lyle.
28-yard pickup, so it is a 1st down. 1st and 10 on the 11. The Vikings can get another 1st down without scoring. Ricky Young, number 34, is in the backfield. Kramer fires incomplete, penalty flag down, away from the ball. We might have had interference. And we have holding against Miami. It is half the distance to the goal line and an automatic first down. It is against the Dolphins, the second penalty in a row against Miami. Here it is.
Defense. First down.
It was against Don McNeil, the cornerback. So it's first and goal now at the 5. In the last minute and a half, the Dolphins, who have been error-free, have committed 1 turnover and 2 penalties. Nearly 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Galbraith gets inside the 5 to the 2. Wes Hamilton, the right guard, who has made several key blocks all day for the Vikings. Number 61 was there once again. Galbraith seeing a lot of action here in the absence of Ted Brown, who has not played today with a sore knee. They mark it at the 1, so we'll call it first and goal at the 1. Or second and goal at the 1. Line up with 2 tight ends. We'll watch Bob Brewer, number 82. They use him a lot as a receiver on goal line plays. Galbraith, short, does not make it. It'll be third down and goal inside the 1.
Well, those linemen, all they do is bury. The offensive linemen have got to get low and try to root them out of there at least for a yard or 2, and they really had a stalemate, and no, maybe a very moderate game that time.
Bob Hauer, the nose tackle, and old Trent Herter, the 12-year veteran who came out of retirement to help Don Shula with his depth up front, number 83. There he is, 6'6", 252, veteran of the Super Bowl year. Third and goal. Here it is, at the 1. And Galbraith is in for the touchdown. The Vikings come back. Good block by Ricky Young, Roger.
Yeah, there was movement there. Young was the lead back that led for Galbraith, but Ed Newman or Wes Hamilton and Tim Irwin did a good job on that right side of the line. They just rooted Miami out of there just enough for Ricky Young to lead through, pick off a linebacker right here. Make sure that linebacker doesn't pop Galbraith before he's past the goal line, which he got over with plenty of room to spare.
Dan Meyer with Steve Dills holding will try to bring the Vikings to within 5 of the Dolphins. His kick is good, so the Vikings are back in it with 9:25 to go. It's a 19-14 game, and it was a turnover that put up Minnesota.
Recently, a ceremony took place at the House of Commons to honor a few extraordinary wines. As wine experts from all over Europe looked on, more awards went to the wines of one winery than to any other. A winery from California. The California winery, whose wines were honored more than any others.
Johannesburg Riesling.
The award-winning winery of Ernest and Julio Gallo. From Ernest and Julio Gallo, all the best.
Toyota presents a truck that helped make Toyota the best-selling line of trucks in the world. 1983 Toyota 3/4-ton truck with the biggest standard engine in its class, giving it the biggest payload in its class. 1,800 pounds of payload. Now, how do you feel about the Toyota 3/4-ton truck?
Somebody did it right.
Next Saturday, 2 great matchups and exciting regional play. The USC Trojans against the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Houston Cougars against the Syracuse Orangemen. Next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Well, the Vikings took advantage of that turnover, the fumble recovery and the run by Turner. They only had to go 22 yards, but they did it, and Galbraith with the touchdown. Rick Danmeyer to kick off, 19-14 to score. Danmeyer and Mark Mosley, the only straight-ahead place kickers in the NFL. Picked up by Rich Diana, the promising rookie from Yale, and he gets to the 35. Let's go to the scoreboard right now in the National Football League and see what's happening. St. Louis leading Philadelphia in the fourth quarter. Chicago, same score, 23-13 over New England, fourth quarter at Soldier Field. Houston over the New York Giants, 14-3. Fourth period at Giants Stadium. Tampa Bay continues to lead New Orleans 13-10 in the fourth quarter. And it's Green Bay now 30, Buffalo 7 in the fourth period. And next Sunday, the NFL Today starts it off. We'll see what the New Orleans Saints are all about with George Rogers, Kenny Stabler in that game in Atlanta. Washington plays at St. Louis, and a full schedule of activity on CBS Sports. First and 10 at the 35 for the Dolphins. Here's Andre Franklin. They haven't solved him yet. Fred McNeil makes the tackle on Franklin, who has gone over 100 yards in this game.
Miami had this game completely under control. That 19-7 lead, they were driving again. They had stopped Minnesota on 2 occasions, and the only 2 times they had the ball in the second half, and pop, a turnover, bounces in the arms of Turner, and the game is anybody's game right now. A whole complete swing and things, and of course this is a critical series here for Minnesota defensively.
David Woodley is 13 for 19 for 132 yards. He has a 2nd and 6 facing it. He'll go with Franklin again. Franklin is 2 yards shy of a first down, but he picks up some yards. And now, as you saw, Bruce Hardy signaled, let's have the 2 tight ends on short yardage now on 3rd down. There's Dwight Stevenson, number 57, who took over the starting center's role this year on the Miami Dolphins. Mark Dennard had been the starter last year, but Stevenson, a 2nd-round draft choice out of Alabama, in his 3rd year, very active and very agile as he comes toward you, moved into the starting role. 3rd and 1 at the 44. In motion, Hardy, and it's Franklin, does not make it. And Scott Studwell was there to prevent Andre Franklin from getting a first down, and the Dolphins will have to punt.
Well, the rhythm was off on this play. With the tight end coming down, the rhythm was off a little bit. Good penetration by Minnesota to stop that play. Watch the tight end coming lead here to block number 72, White. And of course, there was a little bit of rhythm was off, and I think the play was also given away, and good penetration that time by the rest of the Minnesota line that stopped that first down.
Tom Morris punting from the 30. Eddie Payton, single safety. Ball bounces at the 22 and takes a Miami bounce, and it is down at the 3. Ron Hester downs it at the 3. So Kramer now faced with a 97-yard drive, and Tom Morris does his job as well as you can ask him. Well, tonight on CBS, good fare for you, 60 minutes, followed by the All-Star Party for Carol Burnett and the 7th Annual Circus of the Stars. 3 outstanding programs tonight on CBS. Well, now Kramer is not faced with good field position following a turnover. He's got to take him a long way, Raj.
Well, he just, you're right, and that punt that time was, he kicked it just enough where Eddie Payton wasn't sure whether he should catch it or not. And of course, he let it roll, and it was productive for Miami.
53-yard punt. 7:02 remaining in the fourth quarter. Kramer, but under pressure, he's going for Sammy White, and it's tipped at the last minute by Gerald Small. Gerald Small tipped it, and Sammy White had beaten the Miami cornerback.
Well, Small almost timed that a little bit late. He saw the ball coming, then realized it was too high, and White actually got behind him, but he did jump and tip the ball and kept White from making a big play.
White caught 10 passes last week, a personal high for him, and he caught 3 touchdown passes against Miami back in 1976. 2nd and 10 now at the 3. Crowd yelling defense. Kramer in his end zone going for White, and it's incomplete. Don McNeil covering on the other side makes a fine play. Don McNeil, first-round draft pick 3 years ago from Alabama, and Don Shula thinks he's destined to be all-pro.
Here's White is running another post route to this side. McNeil gives him some room. But just at the last minute, he comes in here to knock it away. But they're trying to get that seam in the post over the linebackers into that hole. McNeil makes a good defensive play there.
Kramer is now 14 for 24. 115 yards, 2 interceptions, and he faces 6 defensive backs right here. 3rd and 10. Sammy White in motion. Kramer gets it out to the 12-yard line to Sammy White. They may be short of a first down.
That's a mistake.
I think they're short. They had to get it out to the 13.
That's a mistake by White. When he turned around, he should have made sure he had the first down. He was short.
It'll be 4th down. But they're going to measure, but I think he is short.
This is a tester right here. If he's short, it's probably about 6 inches.
Maybe more than that. Now what do?
You got a punt. 6 minutes and 38 seconds to go. There's a lot of time. Kramer's magic in the last few minutes. But again, Miami with a field goal puts Minnesota out of a touchdown, so you need a good punt. Field position again, a big factor here.
Coleman has had to punt with his back to the wall throughout this game. He continues to be the Viking punter because Bud Grant says, why keep bringing new people in? Let him have a chance to feel he'll be here a while. Stability, that's the keynote for the Vikings. Coleman, a yard in the end zone. Vigorito at the 45-yard line. The ball bounces at the 39 and will take a hop into Miami territory and stop at the 46-yard line. On the scoreboard, the Giants coming back, trailing Houston now, 14-10. In the 4th quarter, San Diego over Cleveland, 27-13. Pittsburgh over Kansas City in the 4th, 28-7. Steelers coming back from their upset at Seattle. Chicago maintaining the lead over New England, 26-13. Next, Dallas at Washington or Atlanta at Denver. Check your local listings, but that Dallas-Washington game should be a dandy. 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line for the Dolphins. 6:04 remaining 4th quarter. They lead by 5 points, and Franklin gets back to the line of scrimmage. Doug Martin, number 79, shaken up early, was right there to make the play. Timeouts remaining 2 apiece. We're not into that close territory yet.
Hey, number 1.
.540 remaining in the 4th period. Enough time for Tommy Kramer, if he gets decent field position, to try to perform his 2-minute magic. But right now, the onus is on the Minnesota defense here. 2nd and 9 at the 47th. Tommy Vigorito looking for a hole, and he finds one, gets to midfield. Good slashing runner is Tommy Vigorito out of the University of Virginia, was a 5th-round draft choice, keeps plugging away. And maybe plugs away and maybe epitomizes Don Shula's no-name club, no-talent club compared to some others, much as anyone. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Shotgun right here is got to be loaded.
Well, a big play now, big 3rd down play for Minnesota here and for Miami. Ball control-wise, this could be a big first for the Dolphins. Vikings have 6 defensive backs. Big play right here. Woodley's pass, penalty marker down. The pass is incomplete.
I think it's holding.
It was intended for Vigorito.
Minnesota will refuse this.
Roger Staubach, eagle eye here. Saw the holding call and will also, because he has been in so many of these situations, know that obviously Minnesota will decline and force Miami to punt.
I don't think you have to be in any situations to know that. That was holding, refuse, down. Now Eddie Payton should play up a lot closer this time. Don't let that ball bounce again. Now also they're putting in 2 other receivers down there on both sides of the field, so they don't have that same problem they did before, which could have cost them the football game.
Tom Ara's last time kicked a 53-yard punt. Got Leo Lewis, number 87, and Tommy Hannon back there along with Peyton. He's going for sidelines, and he hits it. Let's see where they mark it. It'll be the 25. So I think Aura's won a little bit better than that. Out of bounds at the 25-yard line. The Dallas Cowboys will try to tie Washington for the top spot in the NFC. Tom Landry looking for his 200th victory as an NFL coach. The Redskins are the only undefeated team remaining in the NFL. And you just know when those clubs play, it's a classic. Theismann and White, the quarterbacks. Dorsett and Riggins, the running backs. They got Charlie Brown, sensational rookie. Theismann loves him.
Riggins and Washington both are going to be key. Washington will be back, and they need Joe Washington for the big plays.
First and 10 with 4:28 to go. The ball at the 25-yard line. Kramer needs protection, and this pass is intercepted. Ernie Roll, or was it Bocamper? Kim Bocamper has intercepted the pass, 6'6", 250 pounds, and he just tipped it to himself, and a big Miami interception.
Number 58, there was a blitz. Kramer felt the blitz, he felt the pressure, but Bocamper started to come and backed off. Kramer didn't see him right there. He thought everybody was coming, and when he drilled the ball, he didn't see Bocamper, who started to come, dropped back. He's a defensive end, former linebacker, made a great play right there. A sneaky play, a very costly play for Minnesota. Kramer's third interception.
Bocamper's first of the year. Miami has it 1st and 10 on the Minnesota 29. Tom Vigorito falls down after picking up a couple. So the turnovers have really affected all the scoring in this game.
What flexibility this Minnesota team has between its linebackers. You got Bocamper, a linebacker, now a defensive end. You got Dewey, a former lineman, now he's a linebacker, and they just keep mixing people up, all big play guys, and they're doing a good job. They're really a fine defensive football team.
Miami Dolphins, they are number 1 in the NFL against the pass. 2nd and 8 at the 27. Clock running, 3:45 remaining, fourth quarter. 19-14, the Dolphins lead the Vikings. And here comes Andra Franklin trying to break tackles, gets to the 20-yard line. Tommy Hannon makes the shoot-top tackle, short of a first down, but Franklin has been the key to a terrific ball control offensive effort by the Dolphins today, and he lost the shoe in the process.
He might be a little tired also. He could stay out a play or two. He was getting oxygen on the sideline before. He's over 100 yards. He's been the workhorse for the offense in a hot, humid day.
Franklin went into the game as the leading rusher at 282 yards and one of the top 5 rushers in the AFC. 3rd and 1 now at the 20. Under 3 minutes to go, fourth period. And movement in the line. Looked as if the Vikings had moved. If so, it'll be a Miami first down. See if he was drawn off. A field goal by the Dolphins would put this game out of reach, and it is against Minnesota. First down, Miami. That's the last thing the Vikings needed. Getting a breather on the sidelines is Andra Franklin. 124 yards and 1 touchdown today.
I'm really impressed with
defense.
Bill Arnsberger. He started the 3-man, was really the guy that kept the 3-man line with the linebackers back with Bob Mathis, and number 53 called the 53 defense a long time ago. And he stayed with it, and he's given a lot more flexibility. It's a multiple defense. A lot of teams in the National Football League use a multiple defense. Of course, Miami uses it also with personnel.
1st and 10 at the 15. 2:49 remaining. Minnesota has to stop Miami, and then they get the ball and score a touchdown. Vigorito as the Dolphins using up the clock now. Keep in mind that Miami can't allow, or Minnesota can't allow, a Miami score of any kind here. Updating some scores, fourth quarter, the Eagles coming close. The Cardinals 23 and the Eagles 20. Baltimore leading Cincinnati in what is developing into be a big surprise, 10-6 in the third quarter. The Giants have overtaken the Houston Oilers 17-14 in the fourth quarter.
Cincinnati look like the team to beat in the National Football League, and they're struggling against Baltimore, the team that everybody beats.
Vigorino and Franklin are the setbacks, and Franklin stopped, and now the Vikings call a timeout. Franklin gets to about the 11-yard line, and Minnesota calls a timeout. They have one more remaining, and we are now having the 2-minute warning. So that will not count as a timeout, although they signal one left for Minnesota. We will check that when we get back. This is the 2-minute warning, and the Dolphins face now with third down.
NFL's most valuable player, brought to you by Apple Computer. He is easily identified by his bald head and funny name. However, in 1963, Yell Burton Abraham Tittle distinguishes himself with his passing arm. As quarterback for the New York Giants, Tittle throws an NFL record 36 touchdown passes and is named the league's most valuable player.
Apple Computer. My Apple has a great head for stats. It sure makes my job a lot easier.
There are more people in more places doing more things with Apples than with any other personal computer in the world.
Man, we never travel without the Apple.
And of all these people using Apples, most had never touched a computer before. Apple, the most personal computer.
There's the situation, and they still haven't corrected the scoreboard. We saw a Minnesota player call a timeout, but it was really the 2-minute warning and 1:58 showing on the clock. So we'll see whether the Vikings have 1 or 2 timeouts remaining, and it should be 2, Roger.
It should be. Normally you want to call a timeout just before the 2-minute warning to take advantage of that timeout and then get one at the 2-minute warning, but they called it at the scoreboard.
They corrected it, Raj. They got 2 left.
Right. They just put it back up there.
Third down and 6. Right now, the Vikings defense has to stop Miami. You didn't worry about Von Schaman. There's a quarterback throw. Woodley is hit, and he does not quite make a first down. And now the Vikings will call one of their 2 remaining timeouts. James White, Duck White, and John Turner make the stop on Woodley, and that was a good call by the Dolphins.
About a yard short, but it was. It looked good for a second. They might get the first down. Again, Minnesota's been a team, historical team of making big plays and specialty teams. They need a block field goal right here.
They need Matt Blair, that's for sure. The Giants are leading Houston 17-14 in the fourth quarter of their game at Giants Stadium. Houston had the lead early in the game, and the Giants stormed back. And right now it's 17-14 in the fourth quarter at Giants Stadium. And next Saturday on CBS Sports, it'll be the Philadelphia Eagles against the New York Giants. There's the Giant lead. Eagles are fighting for their lives against the Cardinals, and in a big game for survival next Saturday, beginning at noon Eastern, the NFL Today and the Philadelphia Eagles against the New York Giants. 4th and 1 for Miami. Uwe Von Schaman will try to put this game close to out of reach, because with 1:50 to go, anything can happen. Minnesota has 1 timeout remaining. Von Schaman has had a checkered game. He had a conversion blocked by Blair, and we'll be watching number 59. Missed a field goal, but then he clicked on a couple of field goals, got his confidence back. 26-yard attempt. Make it 25-yard attempt. Von Schaman's kick is up. It is good. A big one.
Well, that was an extra point with a 5-yard penalty, so that was a close one, but it was an important field goal, as important as a 50-yarder. That puts them out of touchdown reach. They'll need a touchdown and a field goal to win this game.
Well, if any quarterback who's had the reputation of putting points quickly in a hurry at the end, it's Tommy Kramer. He's going to need some help from his offensive line, however, because he has been harassed all day. And so the Vikings are hoping for a decent run back of this kick. Maybe a big touchdown and a field goal following an onside kick. A lot to ask for. But coming up next, we have plenty to give you. The NFL Today, Dallas and Washington Cowboys and the Redskins in another renewal of that great battle. Washington unbeaten at 4-0. Dallas at 3-1, and Roger knows all about that game.
Tom Landry used to really be concerned about George Allen. We had a hotel that overlooked our field. He used to buy the rooms overlooking our practice field. Afraid George was going to spy on him. Joe Gibbs is a lot more low-key, but he's getting the success that George had in the mid-70s.
Tommy Kramer is going to have to try to bring the Vikings out of it and get them points in a hurry with 1:46 showing. Darren Nelson has taken a spot down in the goal line along with Jarvis Redwine. So Von Schaben will be kicking into a lot of speedy backs for Minnesota.
Kramer's touchdown to interception ratio was excellent going into this game. He had 8 TDs, 3 interceptions. He had a great week last week, 5 touchdown passes, but the Miami defense have put a lot of pressure on him. He's thrown 3 interceptions. It's not been a Tommy Kramer day.
Von Schaben trying to kick it, and it stays in bounds. Darren Nelson coming up the sideline to the 15 to the 20 and goes out of bounds at the 24-yard line. So the clock now has 1:42 to go, and Nelson ran a little bit too far and fell down over all the ropes on the sideline. That's the clock. Timeout remaining. Minnesota has 1 timeout to go. So Kramer's going to have to perform some magic here. But the way Miami's defense has played today, they have been more than equal to the task. Only 1 turnover, a couple of penalties, and 1 kind of lapse in play by the Dolphins when the Vikings went in for the touchdown that brought him to 19-14. But Schaben's field goal has given them the 8-point lead.
We'll have 2 safeties way back there. Don't give up any big plays.
Here they come. They're coming in on Kramer, and Kramer up the middle. And we had some bumping there as Ernie Roan defending against Sammy White. Nothing called. It'll be just incompleted pass.
Well, the area you have to hit, of course, is that deep area again, that 20 to 25-yard area. Kramer hit one over the middle before the half that was in position to set him up for a field goal before the interception. So he needs to hit that area and hope to run down there, throw the ball out of bounds, get the clock stopped, and hit a few more like that. They're taking away the deep passes to the sidelines to stop the clock, Miami, plus they're extremely deep.
Terry LeCount, number 80, wide to the right. White and Rashad to the left.
Won't get behind anybody.
2nd and 20. Kramer is hit as he lets go of the ball, and it is intercepted. Gerald Small is going to run this in for the touchdown.
Bumping the passer, though. They're going to bring this one back.
That's right. That's right.
AJ.
Exactly right.
AJ is telling the referee, I didn't hurt him. He told me that one time, too.
Leave it to Roger Staubach to look at Tommy Kramer after the ball is thrown.
He threw that on one skate as AJ. He really wasn't maybe hitting late, but he wrapped that hand around towards the upper body, around the neck to the face. I think that's why they called it.
All right, here's Fred Silva. So this will be 15 yards and a first down to the 40.
Defense, number 58, personal foul, passer, ahead.
Kim Ocamper, and there's Don Shula. Not so mellow anymore, is he?
AJ was complaining the referee is trying to protect Ocamper, but Ocamper, number 58, is the one that got in there. And he's come a little stunned at the inside rush by Dewey, and then outside comes Ocamper right there. See, he's got that left hand.
All right, the Vikings now. Penalty marker down again, and on the run, Kramer is going deep, and it is incomplete. The intended pass receiver was Terry LeCount. It was out of bounds and another flag. Doug Betters is pleading his case. And this is against Miami again. Ocamper might have been offside. So Ocamper with the big interception before, roughing Kramer, and now he's offside. Clock remaining, 1:17 showing on the clock.
Tom Shula doesn't like that at all, does he?
Offside. First down.
Shula arguing 2 straight plays. Couple of calls going against the Dolphins. First down and 5 at the 45. 1:17 on the clock.
Need a big play and an onside kick.
Vikings are moving the ball, but they're doing it with penalties right now. Kramer dumps it off to Galbraith. Galbraith trying to get away from the Dolphins, and he can't. And it's picked off. Kozlowski picked the ball away. Let's see what they call it. They blow it dead. Blow it dead at the 38.
AJ's helmet just went farther than any of David Woodley's passes today. It went about 35 yards, and they're going to probably penalize him for that.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against A.J. Dewey could be the call that we're going to see. He took off his helmet and fired it to the ground.
Last time I saw that was with Bob Lilly when we lost to Baltimore 16-13 in this stadium, and he bounced his helmet off the ground and almost went 30 feet in the air, and that's not an exaggeration.
He hasn't put the helmet back on yet.
He's lost all his pads. So all the pads are buckled in there. They're all over the field. There's more pads on the field than were flags.
Could you imagine the rash of penalties against the Miami Dolphins? 106, tough way to use the clock.
I don't know what the call was on the fumble over there. I guess the ball was blown dead on the sideline. But maybe they might have given a recovery of the fumble.
Like conduct, but it's Miami's ball.
It's a screen pass to the outside, and Galbraith makes a little bit of a fake right there in Roan. Tries to get back the outside, and here's number 40 this time is Mike Kozlowski, who steals the ball when it's on the ground there. And
it's Miami's ball. Kozlowski, a 10th round draft choice in his third year from Colorado. And he had 2 interceptions against Buffalo in a key game last year to clinch the division title for the Dolphins. Another big play here by Kozlowski. 106 remaining.
Strange set of events right there, and kind of a strange game today. It's been one where you can't really say it's been a great game by the way the teams have played. It's been good defensive plays, not a great deal of offensive plays. There's AJ on the sidelines. He was upset. He's out of the game. Will be a little bit of a fine, about $200 or so.
1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. The Vikings really stormed in there. You remember what happened in the Vikings called their last time out in the San Francisco game against St. Louis when Joe Montana kneeled down, just like Woodley did there, and then jumped up and threw a pass. And, at this time of year, with this situation with the abbreviated campaign, when points could be a decider and one of the tiebreakers, I guess anything goes here. And turnabout is fair play, so you have to watch out for trick play.
Yeah, but you don't want to do anything like that. That's an unwritten law, and Joe might have affected the quarterback's health for the next couple of years.
True.
Because that's an unwritten law. When the quarterback goes down, you just don't pull anything from that play, and normally the defense won't clobber him.
That's a good point. I think that once you break that sort of unwritten rule, then you're going to see what we almost just had, and that is the defense making sure that the quarterback is down and maybe a little extra shove.
Well, this is the old quarterback flop, though. You'd love to have this as a team. You got things under control. You can run the clock out. And it hurt my rushing average, though, because they count that as one rush, 0 yards for the quarterback.
You were worried about that, weren't you?
I had a good rushing average.
But Grant has seen turnovers do his team in. Fine defense by Miami today, and Andre Franklin. Bud Grant said if we don't stop Andre Franklin, we're in deep trouble. He did not stop Franklin, and he was ultimately in deep trouble. So now with 59 seconds to go, the Dolphins using up the clock. No more timeouts for Minnesota.
There's no particular play, I guess you could say, affects the game, but the interception before the half when Minnesota had a chance to maybe score, Miami gets it, hits Cephalo for a big play, and Von Schaman gets his confidence back, kicks that field goal. They came storming out the second half, controlled the ball for 9 minutes, and that swing there before the half had a lot to do with the outcome of this game.
Just as we said at the top, Andre Franklin, the key to the ball control and that offensive line. Let's not minimize the work of the offensive line for the Miami Dolphins. They were really the Rock of Gibraltar for their Super Bowl champions back in 73 and 74. 20 seconds to go. The Miami Dolphins.
Also, last week, the Viking offensive line had a great day against Chicago, blocked the blitzes. Ted Brown had a good day blocking. They missed him today, but that defensive line by Miami's been a big factor.
Absolutely. They have just puzzled Tommy Kramer. And the clock runs out. We're going to be back here at the Orange Bowl in Miami. The final score, Dolphins 22, Vikings 14, but we will be back.
When you reach age 55, you're wanted by Kemper.
because drivers your age or older are among the safest on the road. So the cavalry wants you. Most Kemper companies offer drivers 55 and over a special discount now and guaranteed renewal at age 60 and beyond if you've been with us for the 5 previous years. For auto discounts and guaranteed renewal, call out the cavalry. Once you compare Kemper, you'll ride with us.
We always run faster together. Maybe it's the baton. Maybe it's the way we push each other.
Bring out your best, otherwise alive. Bring out your best, otherwise alive. Bring out your best.
The best never comes easy. That's why there's nothing else like it.
Final score 22-14, and a field goal by Von Schaman to give the Dolphins the lead just before the end of the first half. And Miami really played an error-free game except for one small phase, Roger.
They did. They had the big turnover on that one fumble that popped out, but other than that, it was a great game for Miami on offense.
Executive producer of NFL football is Terry O'Neill. Today's game was produced, the senior producer first is Chuck Milton. Today's game produced by John Ferrazis and directed by Bob Dunphy. Rupert Kopanek, the associate producer, and thanks to everyone, technical and production crew, and of course, as always, to my right-hand man, Marty Aronoff, for his fine job as the Miami Dolphins now go to 4-1 on the year, and the Minnesota Vikings 2-3. Coming up next, the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins in the renewal of that great rivalry. Dallas 3-1, Washington 4-0. So for Roger Staubach, Dick Stockton saying so long, and CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station.
Fly the friendly skies of United, where discount fares count.
After all, we're out to save money, not waste it. Right, United?
This is CBS.